America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll observe a moment of silence. Thank you. Public comment. Do we have any public comment?
We do not have any public comment.
All right. Presentation, library update. Jill Prouty. Yay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
This is really odd this morning because usually they save the best for last. So this is kind of backwards.
Sorry.
I was a little surprised that they put me up first. So anyway, so as you can see, we have we're starting the process of rebranding the library. You see, we have up there the M.T. Allen Memorial Library. Thank you for approving that. It's important to me personally to honor the past and honor the people that came before me. So I'm very, very happy about that. And you're going to be seeing more where I met with public communications the other day to start the rebranding process. So it's going to be fun and interesting, and we hope to have something in place by the time we do a public dedication, probably the end of Jonathan, the sign, I think the last I heard it was maybe the end of October, early November possibly. So anyway, we have that to look forward to. It's already live in the Pines catalog. That happened overnight. They were really excited to change it apparently, and we had phone calls the next morning, telling people to come and pick up their holds at the M.T. Allen Memorial Library, and a lot of people thought, oh, did I place my hold on the wrong copy or whatever? So there was a little bit of confusion there, but we got through it. So, it's just, to me, naming a library after somebody is really the highest honor. So this is just really exciting. Oh, where do I need to point to? Up here? Okay. So I love this illustration of libraries, what libraries are. Where do I need to point my thing to?
Any screen.
Any of the screens? Oh, there it is. Do I have? Oh, here we go. Okay. I love this illustration because, I've used it for a couple of years now, just to talk about, the things we do. I call books our bread and butter, right? But there's a lot of things we do in addition to just the books. And as I go through this presentation, you're going to see that a lot of these things that happen underneath the water are becoming more and more important to library services. Okay, so I'm not going to focus on our stats so much because really what do they mean to you? I'm going to talk about the context of what things are increasing and decreasing. This is really what's important here, the trends that we're seeing, and it's very interesting to me because come November, I'll have been here 28 years, and when I was in library school, the internet was just, people were just getting dial-up connections at their homes, so things have changed, drastically since I got into library school. I remember a lot of people dropped out actually because they got into halfway through it and they were like, this isn't what I thought being a librarian was going to be about. So, but again, we're seeing changes. The library doesn't go away. We just change in the way we deliver services. So we see this happening again. So what's interesting here is, okay, you see here, this is where COVID, was happening here, and we were kind of at a all-time up here, this top line represents our bread and butter, the books, the traditional circulation, and you notice it was down. And we come climbing up here in the next couple of years. And then you see we kind of level out here, and even in the last couple of years, you see a slight dip, right? But then you look down below, and you see our ebooks, our downloads, our audiobooks, as well as our foot traffic in through the doors continues to go up. So, and this isn't something that's unique to our library. We're seeing this nationwide. It's not unusual. So what exactly is going on? What's driving more people to come to the library if it's not the books? So over here on the right-hand side, you'll see what's bringing them in, or one of the things that's bringing them in is we now have streaming video available, and we also have, as I said, if you're not familiar with Libby, that's the service where people can download ebooks and audiobooks and enjoy them on their devices, and that keeps jumping every year, that usage. We still do, over on the left-hand side, you'll see we still have kind of our bread and butter services, our bestsellers in print, and we also carry major newspapers, the ones that are still in print. But everything on the right-hand side of the screen is becoming more and more important. Okay, another thing that's bringing people in is the access to technology. You think everyone has a computer? Not necessarily, and not everyone has computer access at home. We now, we can check out Chromebooks to folks, and they can check out a Wi-Fi hotspot at the same time. So even if they are in a situation where they can't have their own computer at home now or Wi-Fi access, they can check it out at the library, check out equipment, and that's become probably one of our hottest items. We also have our internet workstations, Wi-Fi access, color printing, scanning, and what we call a retro kit, where people can come in and change their or convert their old VHS tapes and old formats into a digital format. We've also become a cultural arts center. We have programs for all ages, including author talks. If you haven't heard of the Art Initiative, that's been going on for probably almost 10 years now, and we have regional and local artists who are selected to do exhibits at the library, and you can see some of the well, there's the Visceral Dimensions. That's our current exhibition right now, but those change bi-monthly. We also have traveling exhibits like the UGA Athletics. They've brought things to us and been on site, you know, probably 2 or 3 times now. We also have our partnership programs with the Alliance Theater, for instance, where you can come in and check out that pass and get 2 free tickets to a performance at the Alliance Theater. And if you want some more tickets for your family, it's 50% off after that. So it's a huge savings. But we have a lot of museums and state parks and historic passes, and so we're not, as I said, all those things beneath the iceberg there on the underside are becoming more and more important to us. Our monthly programming, this is something that has changed drastically in the last 5 to 7 years, I would say. We've always been known for our children's calendar and the children's summer reading program, but now our programs include something for everybody, including adults, and I just show you the front page of our adult calendar there, our programming calendar, but it's 4 pages of, and you can kind of get an idea of all the dates on the front there, on the right here, of the different dates for things for the adults that are going on. When we first started adding adult programming to our schedule, we didn't get a lot of people turning up, but we kept doing them again and again and again. And lo and behold, now, I mean, they're some of our best attended programs. So when we do something new, I always tell people, you know, because we put a lot of work into these programs, and staff will be disappointed when they try something new. It's like we've learned through experiences, you got to keep doing it. You know, you got to keep going 6, 7, 8 months before you start seeing, you know, people get used to it being there. And now things that were not attended before, we have record attendance. So.
Hey, Jill.
Hey, Jim.
Sorry.
I guess we're both
Yeah.
asking questions here. Can you tell me what's adult sensory story time? What is that?
Adult Sensory Storytime is a program for adults with special needs.
And how is it sensory?
They do things, they might be doing an art project where they're dealing with different textures or taste or sound. So, yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Would it be appropriate for those with like dementia, things like that?
That's a good question. Charisse, our adult services program, our adult services librarian, she's the one that runs that program. I would have to ask her about that. I can't answer that. I don't know. That's a great suggestion, though. If it doesn't fit in with that group, that's a great suggestion for a separate program, perhaps, because I think that kind of thing could work.
Yeah,
So-
it just seemed like
Yeah.
something that could be for that group.
Yeah, and the type of projects they do during that hour, I think, would be appropriate for that age group. So that if it's not appropriate for that same group, it sounds like something we could do, separately. So we'll definitely look into that. That's a good idea. Thank you.
Yeah, if there's any extra information, I'd be interested.
Yeah,
Thanks.
sure.
Hey, Jill, before you get off there, I got
Yeah,
a question too.
yeah.
I see that you've got one course up there about Spanish speaking.
Mhm.
And my wife is a Spanish speaker.
Mhm.
She always has a little trouble with some of the odd vocabulary words, but other than that, she can communicate quite well.
Uh-huh.
When you see this where it says advanced beginner,
Mm-hmm.
and two questions, is it truly an advanced type of person like teaching that like my wife could be in there to learn some new vocabulary words that would help her communicate better? That's question one.
Mm-hmm.
And question two, when is it held? I see the date, but is it a morning? Is it an evening? Because she works.
It's an afternoon, and it's taught by a retired Spanish teacher. So she's very good at what she does. The advanced beginner could possibly fit somebody like your wife. It would depend on because the original intent of the advanced beginner was Jody, her name's Jody, would start them off as beginners, and then as they progressed, she would move them into this advanced beginners. So some people, what she doesn't like to do is have to go backwards for somebody just joining in. But if somebody already has some knowledge and they come and sit in and can kind of tell they can keep up with it, then they certainly can stay there. She just doesn't like to go backwards.
Yeah, she took it in both high school and college, so
Okay.
she's pretty fluent. But it's the vocabulary that sometimes she's got the little book out looking up things because she doesn't remember.
Yeah.
So those type of words.
Yeah. If you're not familiar with an online program called Mango, that's something that we have.
Mango, like the
Mango,
fruit?
like the fruit. Yep. It's a program that we have through our consortium, Flint River Regional Library, and if you log in, if she has a Pines account, she can log into her Pines account and click on the link for Galileo, and it will take her to a full version of Mango. It's something that you normally would have to pay for to get the full access to it, but you get it through your state tax. State taxes pay for it, basically. So if she has a library card, she can access that. And part of that program has lists and lists of vocabulary, and she can kind of start in the middle or figure out where she'd want to be. So,
Good, thank you.
another good question. Thank you. So summer reading, that's something that we've always been known for, and I just picked out some photos from our programs because, as I said, now we have summer reading program for adults as well, and we have paint and sips, we have what else do we have? Puzzle races, origami, puppet performances for the kids. So all kinds of things going on all summer. Summertime, June and July are our busiest months of the entire year. So again, it's not something that's new necessarily, but it's definitely expanded to include all ages. Again, driving the foot traffic, right? I think one of the reasons why you see that while the books aren't going away. They've kind of flattened a little bit. Maybe the numbers show maybe like 2%, maybe 3% drop in our traditional circulation. You see those the last few years, those door count numbers going up and program attendance numbers going up. So what we're seeing is nationwide, as I said, that libraries, public libraries, are becoming more of a community center, a place where people come to be together. I think maybe that's a kind of a result from COVID, when people were isolated. People like to come together now and do things as groups. They like to work in groups. Our study rooms stay very busy, and our programs are, as I said, well attended, more so than they've ever been. So. Okay, one of our major initiatives this past year has been the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten. That is something, again, it's a nationwide program. It's something we relaunched this year. We've been part of it probably for 2 years or so, but we became aware, the school system has a meeting usually every year to talk to community stakeholders, including people from public libraries, about what we can do to help get kids ready for school, because they've seen a lot of kids now coming in without the pre-literacy skills that they need in order to do well in kindergarten and succeed, through school and through life, really. So this 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten, we've really pushed this year. And what it is simply is reading to your child, or them reading, but at this age, more than likely you're reading to them. Even as babies, you can start reading to your child, where they can, and letting parents know how important that is for them to hear language and to be exposed to books, right? Even if they don't know how to read yet, they're getting all those signals and making those neurons or making those connections. They're going to help them throughout their life. And so we had a big relaunch at Picnic Park on June 6th, where we got a record number signed up just that day. They get a bag, they get brag tags for every 100 books that they read, and then you see one of our graduates, a picture of one of our graduates right there. So, and a big supporter of that, as you've seen, you see our sponsors, the Friends of the Library, which I'll mention at the end of this very briefly. The Friends are like, they're kind of going through kind of a rebirth almost. We have some new blood in that group now who are really doing, they're movers and shakers and wanting to do things and supporting our programs and coming out like never before. And I think it's our continued presence in the community, where it used to be we would beg people to be on the board, and now we have more people than we need, really. Same thing with volunteers. We have more volunteers now than we need. Imagine that. So, and the Clothes Less Traveled gave us a really nice grant, or a grant to the Friends that they then applied to the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten.
Jill, does Friends have any more author talks coming in, like Brad Thor or any? Those were so cool.
Yeah, thank you. We're working on it. So expect something probably the end of this year or early in January. We're going to have another
And
one.
Skylark, the name of the author, I just
Paula
escaped.
McLean.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was
Amazing.
awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah. And those are the type of events that get us a lot of kind of new people wanting to get involved with the Friends. Really, it's a great it's a great way for them to show the kind of things that we do, and yeah, we've had really good candidates for the board come out of the woodwork, and it's a fantastic group to work with at this point. So.
Hey, Joe, one more thing to
Yeah.
follow up on what the mayor brought up is authors. We have an author here in the city. I just finished his book called Murder in Peachtree City. And I'm sure you're familiar with it, maybe and others are not. Excellent book. It really talks about not only what's going on behind the scenes, but also about the area and Peachtree City. Interesting one. That might be someone you might be interested in bringing in for as an author, since he is local here.
Well, we have numerous local authors,
okay.
and we do a local author expo for them every year because we have so many of them.
Okay.
But we'll definitely, if he's not already on our email list, we'll definitely get him on there. So.
Yeah.
So some of the things just to be thinking about for the next few years are the major repair and renovations. Our building now is, our last major renovation was 2010. 2003, 2004, and the original footprint of the library here on Willow Bend Road, that original 10,000 square feet, was built in 1986, 87. So we're kind of in a mode of we're repairing things, and we had a grant this year to replace the HVAC. Those grants we've applied for almost every year in the past 5 to 7 years, Justin, maybe. We redid the elevator. I think they called that an elevator modernization, because the elevator that we had, they no longer made the circuit boards, for the electronics were so outdated. We really had to upgrade. So a new elevator, resealing the exterior of the building. We replaced our roof with that money. And some future projects we're looking at are replacing the skylights and the awning that covers the walkway here between City Hall and the library. The Floy Farr room has a void underneath it that isn't a problem yet, but could be in the future. So that's something that we, sort of keep on the list of things that may need to be done. New carpet. So these things are sort of the big items. Every year, we replace or we reupholster about 30% of the furniture in the library. We try to do what we can every year through our operating budget, but these are just a few of the big ticket items in the future that we may be looking at. Is that fair enough to say, Justin? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just so you know, as far as the grants, one of the things we're looking at, normally it's a 50% match. Some of that skylight and awning project is a big ticket item. And what we're looking at is potentially applying for a capital grant and combining it with either some other smaller projects to get it over $1 million, for other smaller projects for the library, for instance, doing the carpet at the same time to try to get it up to that $1 million point. Or because our package actually goes through our regional library system, so they can also add on to it their own projects in the region to get it over that $1 million mark. Because once you hit that $1 million mark and it becomes a capital project, it is a 10%, it's a 90%. We put in 10%. So it's actually better, potentially, if we have a large enough project. So keep that in mind. That's kind of what we're working on right now to see if we can make that happen. And that actually may involve, when we get into the capital type projects with those grants, that may be something where we come to you and we want what do I want to say? Work on our behalf with our state legislators to get those items included in the budget. Right now, the smaller projects are pretty easy to get through, but those larger capital items do require more action on your part with our legislators. Yeah.
Keep us posted. Let us know.
I will, yeah. So, and lastly, the Friends of the Peachtree City Library, as I said, they do a lot for us as doing fundraisers, and their major thing is they pay for the summer reading program, probably 90% of it. Our programming budget, just so you know, with all the programs we do year-round, every month, and then, summer reading, there's something every day going on, multiple things going on every day. But in our operating budget, our programming money is I think last year it wasn't even $3,000. It might have been $2,700, $2,800. It's a very small amount. And then the Friends kick in about $5,000. And public libraries were known for doing things on a shoestring budget, and we continue to do that. But the Friends really have applied for a lot of different programming grants on our behalf too. They can do that as a 501c3, and so because we have these active members now, they're doing a lot of that. And if you came to our barbecue program, for instance, for the 250th this summer, that was a grant they applied for on our behalf through, I can't remember, it was a federal grant. But anyway, we couldn't be happier with the current Friends board. So I just wanted to make sure you all knew that, what a dynamic and active group they are at this point. To the point that we have sort of a kind of a bench now for the board, you know, people waiting to get on. So, yeah, it's a nice position to be in, so. So that's all I have for you today. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them. But like I said, I think, just sort of as a wrap up, what I think we're going to continue to see is this kind of transformation into public libraries as a community center where people come to do things, whether it be library programming or meeting in their own small groups. And you can walk in at any time of day and see our tables filled up with people. It's no longer a quiet zone, right? It's a different place. It's a different place than it was 50 years ago, and I think it's going to continue in that direction. Libraries aren't going anywhere, but we are, as I said, it's just changing the way we deliver our services.
Council?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Actually, a little discussion with the public arts program and committee or that we're going to be forming here. It's actually in the process now. That's going to have to be, since it is public art, and you think of public libraries, they kind of go together,
They do.
in my mind anyway. And I can see that kind of displays that would be into the library more often because of the public art and what's brought in. Have you had any kind of correspondence with artists here in Peachtree City that would be, at all interested in doing those kinds of displays and things at our library?
We are booked a year in advance.
You are booked,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, and we have a committee that, the exhibitions, well, let me put it this way, the major exhibition on our featured walls are by invitation only, and we have a committee that selects those people. They go out and view art, as I said, not only local art, but kind of in the region too. They bring people from surrounding areas. But the featured artist is by invitation, and then we also have other walls that are dedicated to groups like the Fayette Society of Fine Art, the Fayette Coweta, there's different groups that have members, local artists that are members, and they also rotate on specific walls. So we already have a program that rotates bi-monthly and is booked at least a year in advance, sometimes a year and a half, so.
Well, that's all of the, what I call the wall art type people.
Yeah,
But you know that there's more than just wall art. There's, I'm not an artist. I'm an engineer and scientist, so I can't really speak a lot about that. But I do enjoy it. Sculpture is one of my favorite areas. And we have some here
We
around the
do.
city. But it would be wonderful to start to see more of it flourish around the library.
we do one sculpture exhibit a year. And we've had some of our local sculptors do that. The big thing with sculpture that's kind of tricky, most of the pieces we wired to those, what do you call those? The grates on the walls, we wired them to them because people can walk off with them. So it's kind of tricky, and it's a special exhibit we do once a year. It was, I think, late spring. And they have to sort of acknowledge that somebody could knock it off a table per se, because to get those the stands, the proper
Pedestal.
stands for them, they're thousands of dollars to do that. So it's kind of, if that new art group wants to fund some of that stuff, that's that would be cool. It's just not something that's been feasible for us yet. But like I said, we do we call it a 3-dimensional exhibit once a year, so
Well, thanks.
fingers crossed.
Yep.
We haven't had anything break or disappear yet, but that's always kind of a concern, yeah.
Well, I've got a few ideas. I'd love to, we'll get together and talk about them. I'll stop in and see you. That's all I have, Madam.
I have a quick question. Can you remind us all about the Floy Farr Room? People want meeting space. So what are the rules of Floy Farr Room? Cost, hours?
There's no cost to use the Floy Farr Room, but it is for nonprofit use. So it's not, you can't have like business meetings down there. So that's the limitation with it. Civic groups, nonprofits, 501c3s, it's limited to 6 times a year. that they can use it, and it stays very busy. And it's also a polling place, as you know. So that kind of limits us, you know, now with early voting too, and as long as early voting lasts, it kind of has limited that space somewhat, yeah.
Thank you. And then my last question is, can we talk about the sign for a minute? I think I saw a mock-up from Jonathan about MT Allen Memorial Library. And we've all agreed by now, I saw the emails going back and forth about M.T. which I didn't like at first because nobody wrote it that way. But I see the family, even the family thought if you have MT, it looks like mountain or some kind of an abbreviation.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay, I get it. If I were to go out right now, and I can't recall, the library is marked with the word library. Is that true? And the letters are individual,
Yes,
L-I-B-R-A.
yeah.
But we're not doing that for the new sign, apparently, correct? MT Allen Memorial Library, it's on a slab. I gotta be honest, I was a little disappointed to see that slab.
That's the way
I'll
it is
agree
now.
with you.
That's
They're
the
not
way it is
individual.
now?
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
not individual.
Okay.
It'll be exactly the same.
I assumed it was a budget thing. It'll be fine, but I just,
It's the same as what it is.
it's the same as what it is right now?
Yes.
They're not individual letters,
No.
L-I-B?
I would
No.
agree with you on that.
Okay.
It has a slab on the back of it, is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Is the size, are the size of the letters the same as we have today?
Yes.
Okay.
Is there a
I'm
chance
gonna-
that we can make them bigger?
No, I'm gonna go with it.
Not now that it's in production.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
okay.
okay.
Yeah, all right.
Enough on that.
All right, it'll be wonderful. Thank you. All right, that's all I have. Council, anything?
No.
All right, thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Thank you, Joe.
All right, recreation and special events update. Harold Layton.
Good morning, Madam Mayor and Council.
Good morning.
So, I'm gonna do my best to be second fiddle to Jill today. I know we say we did the best first, excuse me. But, I'm gonna do my best to try to follow that act, to the best of my ability. But, you know, been working through this project for a couple weeks now, and, it's really opened my eyes to see some of the things that we've got going on, because I see a lot of stuff that we're doing on a daily basis, and you forget about projects here, projects there that we've done, things that we've accomplished, milestones that we've hit. And to go back and reflect on those through this process has been kind of eye-opening, to just say the least. So with that, I'm going to do my best to give this justice, all right? All right, so the first thing I want to start off with is our org chart for our department. Our org chart features 25 full-time employees. 15 of those are maintenance techs, supervisors, and crew leaders. 25 part-time staff and 23 seasonal staff for a total of 73 employees. You know, Peachtree City as a whole, one of the best parts of the city is the people and the staff that we have working here. And I think everybody in this room would agree with that. I would take this department and match it against any agency across the state for recreation. The amount of work that we do and the accomplishments that we do are just unbelievable. So with that, I'm actually going to go ahead and turn this over briefly to Michelle Johnson, the assistant director. Her specialty is programming, special events, and athletics. So since we're going to talk about Kedron first, I'm going to let her come say a few words.
Okay. Well, I don't know if it's going to be, if you can hear me, but good morning.
Good morning.
Actually, I'd have to differ. Library Services does a lot of programs, but Rec does too, and I love this part of recreation. Programs bring people to our city, and we get to touch children's lives all the way up through adults in play. And I always say, your health is your wealth. So programming is what we do the best. So these are just some numbers based on Kedron programming. We do have limited space with our Kedron Aquatic Centers. You know, swimming is part of biggest part of the aquatic center. And then we have Glenlock with programming. So we do contractual, and you can see our numbers here through the total number of classes going through from back to 22 up to the current date. Those will fluctuate depending on interest, and then who's at home and interested in those programs and as they register for them. So we're on a steady income from there between 19,000 to 18,000 on the revenue for that for just the Kedron programmings, and there are all types of programming. Anything that an adult is interested along with the children. A lot of the associations deal with our youth programs, and then we are expanding some of our adult programs too with athletics. So we've got summer camps, from 22 to 25. As you can see, we do have a good amount of revenue that comes in through a yearly basis, and that's during those summertime months. All different type of activities. We did have the City Hall workers in at Kedron, so that did kind of limit some of the space this past year. Just some information for you to know on that. So, on to the next slide. Whoops, I'm sorry. As I throw it at you. So here's some of our open swim. As you know, the Kedron pool is highly used for our citizens. So these just gives you the daily numbers along with our current memberships, our annual passes, and then our numbers for the 3-month membership, and then a year round. As you can see, people take advantage of both of the daily and the yearly memberships, and it is highly used. Here's our swim team numbers. We've got 5 swim team numbers, that utilize our pools in the morning, and these are just some of the numbers with the participants along with the payments that are brought in, whether they're residents or non-residents. And along with our associations. Go ahead, Justin.
Can you use the laser, like the highlighter, to show them the PTC residents versus non-residents, daily users?
So you go, there's the Peachtree City residents along with the non-residents. Yeah, the daily users are right. Where's that? At the very top. Yeah, there we go. It's at 13,000.
Wow.
1398 to 12.
So we're having almost as many non-residents
Wow,
come in
yeah.
as residents of the city,
Correct.
and they pay a different rate than the city. Did we instituted that last year, I
I
believe?
believe it was October.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
Okay. So these are just highlighting some of the activities for our adult programming. We brought in an athletic coordinator full-time. He was part-time, and he has hit the ground running. We keep adding more programming, and it's taking on big time. So we've got the adult basketball leagues, we've got adult volleyball, and then we got PTC YBA, which is our youth basketball program. Back to Basics is a summer program, and I believe it runs also year-round. And then our summer camps, and then this year we've got volleyball camps, and they're going to add during some time during when the kids are off during winter break or things like that. So we are kind of try to utilize the space that we have to bring in as much programming as we possibly can.
Is there women's basketball?
Yes, they do.
I thought
It's
so.
a smaller number of teams, but there is women's. Sorry, I went back. There we go. Then we've got, you wanted to talk on this? Harold's excited about this.
Yeah, so this year we started with our inaugural class of our Kedron Wall of Fame, which you guys saw a couple weeks ago with Mary Plant, Cole Bishop, Lily Backus, and Dave Pina. We are up and running, accepting nominations for the 2027 class for next summer that will work on through our internship program, the selection and doing the things that we did to get that up and running this past year.
So that's every year? You're going to take nomination? What, 4 per year?
It varies. It could be 4, it could be 1, it could be whatever nominations we get and however many people we're able to actually interview and speak with. That's the biggest thing is sometimes you get a lot of these people, like Cole Bishop was very hard to get in touch with this year.
Well, he's playing for the Bills.
Yeah, he was, literally.
The
we
man
caught-
is busy.
We caught him the day before he reported for training camp, and had 45 minutes to interview him. And so you run into things like that. Kelly O'Hara, we were trying to reach out to her. They were on a family trip to Alaska for 10 days. It was, so scheduling with some athletes sometimes gets very difficult and very hard. So you know, as we can work them in, we will continue to work those in.
If I may mention before I forget, this week I met, because AJGA is in town down at Plantera, a young lady named Morgan, who is a golfer born and raised in Peachtree City. Does anybody know her? Morgan, darn, I can't remember her last name. I'll talk to you more about her. She's in town this week for AJGA, and quite the golfer history in Peachtree City.
Okay, and I'll also reach out to Tyler Runyon. He's very big in
Yes,
that tournament also.
thank you.
Quick question for you. You know, we get all the nominees coming in, and you may have a list of, you know, from 1 to 22 coming in on any particular year. Getting into the Wall of Fame should be something very special.
Yes.
So the voting on how they get into the Wall of Fame should be a select group, or should be a certain percentage of those people who are voting, that kind of thing. Has that been all laid out clearly?
Yes, it has.
Okay.
We actually established criteria and standard operating procedures with this process throughout this. We made sure that we could define what meets this criteria moving forward. That was one of the big things, is creating this project.
Okay. Thank you.
So yeah, we're accepting nominations on our website now. The photos are currently at Kedron. You can go up there, they are accessible. They're not mounted yet, we're working to get those done quickly. However, they are in the lobby currently, so you can scan the QR code on each one of those pictures. It'll take you to their questionnaire, their bio, very interactive. And then it also gives you a link to start nominating for the 2027 class. So at the field house, we've been working through a couple of maintenance projects. We're currently working on replacing all of the wooden doors through the facility that were originals. There's 21 of them that are being replaced. You can see right here in the picture. They are currently staining those and getting those ready to go up. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, you're going to see new doors. It'll open and close a lot better up there in the facility. So, all right. So, I've just recently received some of these. These are very, very, very raw conceptual pictures. I asked for something to give you for this from WM2A as they're working towards that 30% goal. And these are the images that they gave me. As you can see, the sprung structure, you know, does have some garage doors on the side. The building will come all the way out to the current sidewalk because of the way that we're setting the pools up. We currently at Kedron have the glass storefront doors and that wrap around the side. They will also continue to wrap around to the new sprung structure itself. So for the entryway, you will actually enter through the pool through this side corridor and go straight through the desk, and I'll show you that here in a second. There's another image of the sprung structure itself with the building that's there. And here is your very first look at what the pool could possibly look like. So obviously we're still working towards our 30% goal, but this is kind of the rough outline, so to speak, about this. We are still discussing, you know, whether or not the pools are flipped, whether this becomes the instructional pool and this becomes the large pool. So that's still kind of up in there. We're discussing that, but
Say that again.
so right now, if you see how it's oriented, we've got the large pool closest to the parking lot area,
Oh,
and we have the instructional pool kind of on the back towards the wood line. That can be flipped, you know, still throughout this process. That's an easy change. You know, but just working through some of this, we had to start somewhere, so we wanted to get something that would get us to that 30% town hall meeting that we want to have here once that's ready. So this is kind of our starting negotiating point with this. There are several garage doors that you'll see, these openings that are flat. Those are supposed to be garage doors. And then you'll see the double doors for egress, as well as you'll see the tunnel. Now this is the main building where you currently enter through Kedron, and this is all the glass storefront. This will be how you come through early hours before the building is open, to utilize the pool. There will be a storefront door right here in this corridor. There will be a larger window right here for where the office is that the lifeguards are currently working out of. That will become the check-in window. So patrons will be able to come in, check in right here, and then access right through the pool right here. We have 3 separate shower on deck locations that will have 2 shower heads apiece on them. And then we will also have 2 monitors, one on each wall, for timing and scoring for the digital touchpads on the pool themselves. There is also the ramp for the smaller pool. You'll be able to come in for the therapeutics, walk right into the ramp, the 0 entry with a handrail, much like Jefferson had. There's also steps that will come down as well on both pools. We will have to utilize the current lift system that we are using at Kedron, and that will be located in this area. However, there will be steps on this side of the large pool, and also you'll see a larger area. That would be roped off from the lanes itself. This could be for, people that are swimming laps on a daily basis. If they've got kids that want to come swim in the water with them, instead of them having to be in one pool and they're in another. Oh, I'm sorry. They will actually be able to come and they can swim in this lane right here, and there'll be a lane that the kids can play in right beside them. Or this could be a warm-up area as, swim teams are practicing in the lanes. They can have a warm-up area here as well. So a lot of different variety of things that could happen in this pool, but pretty much they're the same size pool. Obviously the instructional pool would be a little bit larger than what we currently have in this area. And it would be structured a little bit different. It would have rope lanes that could be added for classes if necessary, for swim lessons, however we need.
Bleachers?
So we do have bleachers that are set on this end and also down here on the bottom as well. Now, one of the first things and one of the toughest things that we've had to get through, meeting health department codes, fire department codes, building codes, is we did find out that we had to add more restroom facilities for this project. So we are adding an additional 30-foot wide by, I think it's 24-foot deep room right here on the back side of the pool that will house an additional 3 women's and 3 men's facilities. Plus we will gain some additional storage space for programming that we have for water aerobics. They'll be able to store their stuff in there so that it's nice and tidy on the pool deck as well. This area right here is the current pump room. Pump house. It will still be utilized. We will have some expansion on that pump house. This will take up the area where we have the current inflator for the air inflated structure on site and the generator. So that area will all be captured for pumps and whatnot and filters for the pool. There is an additional, we've discussed this several times, we have proposed a splash pad right here as well. And that will be included as an add alternate to the project. So we can add that as we're going through. Once we get to 30%, and we get another Palacio report that shows us, hey, this is what the cost is, we'll be able to say, okay, is this an addition that we want to add to this project or not?
That might be a really good town hall topic.
I'm glad you said that, because we are looking around the mid to end of September for having that 30% design back. And at that point, once we get close to having that number back, we will go ahead and set up and schedule that town hall meeting with all of our various stakeholders that are associated with this project.
Nice.
So we're excited about this. I mean, it's come a long way the past couple of weeks, but very exciting to see what we've done with it.
Oh, before we move on, so are we still on track to shut down in March?
Currently, yes, we are.
Okay.
We are still working through a couple of different items with that. We're still working with United Pools to coordinate lifeguards, how we're going to deal with being open and it possibly being low temperatures outside. So, we do feel confident we're going to be able to keep water temperatures elevated to close to what they need to be. Do I think we'll be able to keep the pool at 91 degrees when it's 10 degrees outside? I'm going to try to keep it at 85. 86 degrees.
Did you say at Glenlock?
No, at Kedron. This is this winter for the swim teams because the air supported structure is gone. We do not have it. It is not going up.
I see.
So we will be open air pool all year this winter.
Oh, the bubble's gone.
The bubble is gone.
Thank you.
It is no longer alive here.
Harold, if I may, on the winter topic, I think that would be a good topic for the town hall too, especially those stakeholders will be utilizing in the swim teams and kind of see if they got any recommendations or, if there's a day that has to be canceled last minute, how's that communicated to the swim teams if it's like a late night cancellation due to weather next morning, things like that. So I suggest bringing that up too during the town hall.
Yeah,
just
definitely.
engage with those folks. I'm sure there'll be some unforeseen challenges.
Yes, definitely. And we've had some of our stakeholders already reach out to us. We are limited in pool space, as we very well know, throughout Peachtree City, Fayette County, and as a whole. We have had some places that originally said, yes, you can come here to do some things. They're now having to back out of some of those agreements. So we are still working through a lot of that with our associations, with our stakeholders, with our swim teams, to try to make sure that we can do the best that we possibly can to provide for our citizens.
Thank you. And on the topic of Glenlock, is there still the plan to move forward with heating that pool? Is there an update on that?
I mean,
Most likely.
it is a possibility. We do have very rough budget numbers at, anywhere from 70 to 80,000 to install some heaters over there that we could do. I think the biggest thing would be to make sure that and I believe we're fine on it, but I've got to double check on our natural gas capability to make sure that we could, fire those heaters the way they're properly need to be run.
Okay.
My question, up next, I guess. So do we have adequate, blankets or covers or whatever for the Kedron pool to kind of like sustain us at that point once we shut down in March, or is it just gonna be?
So currently the goal is that we're gonna do high school swim team all throughout the winter. That's gonna take us up until March. We do have thermal blankets we will be covering the pools every night with. We are gonna run the boilers, like we normally do when the bubble is up as well. We're gonna do the best to try to keep those temperatures where they are. But it's water and it's outside, and if those temps do drop below freezing, it is gonna be tough. We're gonna do everything we possibly can. If we gotta run them, 24 hours a day, we're gonna run them 24 hours a day to try to keep that water up to temperature. Everyone I've heard from so far feels confident that we'll be able to maintain in that 80-degree threshold. It's not going to be the 91, 92 degree that everyone's kind of accustomed to, but we are looking to get in that 80-degree threshold, yes. And then once March gets here, we'll close down and we'll start construction.
What is the ideal temperature for the hardcore lap swimmers and stuff?
So they want to be somewhere between 84 to 89 degrees is where
Okay.
they want to be.
I know that over 90 is more like the water aerobics kind of stuff, or just,
And
general use, so it's.
And actually, the recommended temperature on those is actually between 88 and 89. Anytime you get over 90 degrees, you start getting into saunas and hot tubs,
Yeah.
and those start taking on different regulations as you get into that threshold.
Okay.
Hey, Harold, question on, it's coming along quite nice. Excuse me. And have we done anything to actually update our changing areas, the areas within the building that's going to have to accommodate people? They want to come in and change their business clothes into swim suits, and then go out and swim, kind of like a locker room for both the men and the women.
Well,
Is that going to be updated, or is it still the same ones that we have?
That's going to stay the current locker rooms and changing rooms that we have and showers. Those were just recently renovated, I think, 2017, 2018.
Okay.
With nice tile. They're very nice inside, but we'll stay tuned and monitor that and make sure if we have any issues, we can address those as well. But as of right now, the goal is to keep those the same during this time.
Okay, thank you.
I have one other question. From the safety standpoint, is it better to have the instructional pool closer to the front of the structure, where kids coming down that hallway bursting into the room, if they fell in the pool, they'd be in the shallower pool?
Possibly.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't. So when we were doing, the way this got flipped this way, and I'll give you a quick spill on this. We originally were talking about coming out of this door with the tunnel, much like the bubble tunnel used to come out of on that behind the offices.
Right.
There is no gable roof right there. So in order for us to put that tunnel right there, we would have to add more to the project, come off of this with a gable that we could actually connect the building with. There was already a natural gable right here
Right.
on this side. So the most economical solution was to tie into that gabled entry right there, and since we already had the window, we wouldn't have to reroute how people come in through the building as much. So we did that, but we'd already kind of settled on this pool setup right now. So we were going to come out, and you were going to come out, and you were going to have this 12-foot walkway between both pools was the original kind of scope. Now the thought would be we flip these so that that tunnel brings you kind of right out into that dividing walkway area between both of the pools.
Right.
That's just, 6 one, half dozen the other, which one you're, that's something we'll get to the town hall meeting and say, hey, how would you like this configured? And we'll kind of go from there. But that's an easy switch on those.
Okay.
One more thing to note is currently the large pool depth is almost 9 foot in depth at the deep end. This pool, the total depth will be 7.5, that will transition up to 5 foot. So it's going to be a shallower pool per se. It'll be a lot easier to maintain water temperatures, a lot easier to maintain chlorine levels through this process by doing that. Plus, we still meet all the standards and requirements that we have to have for swim teams. 7.5 foot is the maximum depth that you have to have, unless you put in a diving platform or a diving board, so to say. Then you would need to go to a deeper depth. But for what we're doing this, we go to a 7.5 foot deep pool. Anything else?
Thank you.
All right, so in front of you, you have 3 documents. One of those has to do with the tennis center, and 2 of them have to deal with Kedron hockey. Now, those are for you to go through at your leisure. We're going to hit on some high points on those as we're going through this, but I just wanted y'all to have the full document. The first document that you have is a Palacio cost estimate report for the hockey. Much like we did with the pool, they're giving us an estimate of what it's actually going to cost to build that project. All right, then you're also going to see an architectural report on the current hockey facility from WM2A Architects. We have spent some time looking at this project. I know there's been a lot of discussion about this, about what do we do moving forward, for this. So real quick, I want to touch on some financials for the Hockey Association. And you'll see this a lot, as we're going through some of these different avenues that or divisions of our department. So currently we've got 245 athletes playing in our hockey program, and for 25-26, which has been our highest intake of cash this year for payments, we've received $7,750 from hockey. All right, so we requested 2 options for conceptual level pricing from WM2A. All right, option 1 was to basically demolish the existing open air re-engineered metal building, replace it with a new sprung structure, much like we're doing with the pool. Option 2 is to rehabilitate the existing building and try to enclose it and do some things, bring it up to code, and refurbish it to the best of its ability. In doing this, I'll get to that in a second. So deliverables. No idea if that is. Yeah. So the design fee, if we were to go with the sprung structure, to design this project would be $485,838. All right. So in talking with WN2A and the architects, you know, there are some issues immediately that jump out about the current facility. If we do anything to touch this building, we have to immediately bring our restroom facilities up into code, just like we're having to do with the pool and the gym. So we would have to add and expand our restroom facilities there currently. The existing concrete pad, if we were to enclose a building, would have to be, the concrete pad would need to be redone due to the fact that there is no vapor barrier underneath that concrete slab underneath the rink itself. So all that would need to be redone. The playground possibly would need to be relocated. We have ordered the new boards, the new glass to make that ADA accessible. Also, we've gone ahead and ordered a new water fountain with bottle fillers up there as well. I received a quote for insulation to spray foam that facility, which we had discussed in a previous council meeting. Got a quote for 2 inches of closed cell spray foam was $231,625. Before we can do that, we would need engineering done to ensure that that building can hold that additional weight. Another added cost, which I have not been able to get a quote on yet, is we would have to bring in someone to sandblast the underside of that roof to be able to accept and hold the spray foam as well. So this is kind of the initial thought as if we were to move forward with a sprung structure. You can see, you know, it would kind of sit on the same additional footprint as what the current building is sitting. There would be some expansion to add on this backside for restroom facilities to add more to that. And of course, since we've got the pool project that's ongoing, plus expanding the hockey rink, we would go ahead and continue this parking lot to add additional parking. And because of some of the runoff and drainage out here, we would possibly relocate the current playground, maybe either down here at the field house or somewhere else in this same area. So this is a very, very, very beginning look at what a sprung structure for Kedron hockey would look like. Instead of being a rectangular building, it would be, you know, more oval in shape. But we would be able to capture 2 dressing rooms on each end of the facility. So you could have a dressing room for both teams that are currently on the court, and you could also have a dressing room for the 2 teams that come into play the next game after them. You would add bleachers on the sides. You would be able to add 110 seats to the facility with this structure. And again, this would house the current boards that we have currently ordered as well.
Harold, can you tell me really quick, you had how many kids that play hockey? Was it 245? Is that what you said?
Yes, 245. This is the largest they've been since 22-23 fiscal year.
You also have adult leagues? Or no?
No, I mean.
So it's just kids?
It's just kids. I mean, that's all that's associated with the program is that we're collecting fees on is 245 kids.
Do you have like just like a list of the sports that are offered through recreation and the number of kids involved? Like just to know, like in relation to other sports,
Yes.
how many children or kids are we serving with hockey?
And we've got more financials and documents like this for other associations, just sporadic, just so that you get a range of what we have playing in our sports. Yes, I've got more of that in this presentation.
Okay, great, thanks.
And just as a caveat, Harold, before you start again, I've already sent these 2 presentations to y'all, links on emails because they're so large.
Great.
But you can download them after the meeting and go back and review everything that he's presenting this morning.
Like I did just 5 minutes ago.
right, so, what you're gonna see in that Palacio report is a $5.35 million renovation for the current facility versus a $7.5 million sprung structure cost. Neither one of those costs include the new slab or design fees. So that's, you'd add an additional $485,000 to that number, and then for the design fees, and then whatever the slab cost comes out to be.
Hey, Harold,
Yes.
question, if the 7.5 million for the new building, does that include the removal of the existing building, or is that a separate item that's,
To my understanding, that does include, now that is in the Palacio report as well, it's lined out in that.
okay,
But to
It's in
my
there, okay.
understanding, yes.
all right, I'll read it when we're done.
They had a structural company actually look into the current facility. They strongly recommend not using the existing building for this project because of everything that would have to go into that. Because like I said, if you insulate that roof, we've got to get sandblasting that goes on in there. That's even more of a cost that's going to drive that 5.35 up even higher. So, and then, you know, trying to cut concrete out and redo the pilings, the piers. I mean, essentially, there's a lot of things that have to go in that building to meet code, and that's detailed in that WM2A report also that you'll see what would have to go into that.
Did they add any extra beams for the extra weight that's gonna be added to the roof, should we decide to do that 2 inches of insulation? Is that included in the
That would go into,
WM2A report?
as they're doing the design and the engineering in that would all come into that.
Okay, so you've got some unintended yet potential additions to that 5.35
Correct.
that may be not included yet.
Yes.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
And through this project, talking with the architect, talking to the structural guy about this, with all the unknowns, they don't want to touch this. They do not want to touch the current building. You know, you see the last line on this slide, out of respect for the city and understanding how important use of resources and important resources for various improvements, they strongly suggest that they will not provide a design fee to do this project. I mean, they will do it for the sprung structure, but we would essentially have to go find another company if we choose to upgrade that building any further.
Can you clarify that? I mean, I don't exactly remember where we landed on spending money. I think I had in my mind $500,000
Correct.
for, in my mind, 4 main things that we talked about. One was boards, glass, ADA and some bleachers, and then foam insulation.
Mm-hmm.
To me, those were the big 4. I think Justin threw in the addition of some structural repairs. There were old bolts and things like that would need. Are you saying now we can't do all that?
No.
Well, we can do some of that currently to help firm that building up a little bit more. It's still a building that can be used this hockey season and probably for a few more hockey seasons. As you know, we have the water problem that we have with the raining inside of the facility. So we can try to mitigate that. However, if we insulate, that's going to wipe out. We've ordered the boards already, the boards in the walls. That was $285,000 we approved. So essentially, if we do that and the insulation, we've already blown through the $500,000 already if we do the insulation. Before, we would have to come back and ask for more money to do the sandblasting that would have to occur before that insulation happens. And then we would also need more money. We looked at scoreboards, new scoreboards for the facility. The water fountain was an ask from the association themselves. And I know it's ridiculous, but new water fountains are $15,000, $16,000 now with bottle fillers. It's unbelievable how much water fountains are. So with all that, I guess what we're looking for from you is what direction do you want us to go?
Sure. I guess I still want to zero in on the foam insulation situation. is it, I understand we don't want to throw good money after bad money after good. We would have to get engineering assessment to maintain 2 inches of foam, and it would call for sandblasting. So that's a package that we hadn't really counted on or talked about before. And it sounds like we don't really have a price on that, or is that really all just under the category of ridiculous?
Well, excuse me. It goes back to how much do we want to put into this facility, and we can, whatever you guys decide on, I'm fine with. But how much do you want to put into this facility, knowing that we could put $1 million in this project right now, and then 2-3 years from now, $7.5 million to build a new building?
I thought that if we did this, what we thought was $500,000, maybe now it's up to $1 million. I thought that would buy us 10 to 15 years.
And it still could. We would just have to see what that engineering report says, as well. But I believe that it will.
Hey,
You believe that it would?
I believe that it will get us that 10 to 15 years, yes.
With the current structure,
With the current structure, yes.
10 to 15.
And that still doesn't mitigate the internal rain that will happen.
The insulation would.
It should.
It
Yeah.
should. So,
You know,
I'm not so sure about that.
the issue is, do you put the lipstick on the pig, or do you buy a new pig? But hogs aren't cheap right now,
correct.
and that really kind of like cuts to the main part of the issue. It's like,
Yep.
I like pork, but it's like, I just don't. It's mind blowing, and I know, like Laura's question. You asked the question I was going to ask too, because it's like the participant level. We have to constantly look at that. We just saw the number of participants for swimming. Granted, we were all blown away with how many are not even from Peachtree City, but we kind of knew that was the case because Fayette County doesn't have a pool. There's not a lot of alternatives. But here we have the same situation with this. It's just not the same level of overall participation. But we don't want to take these kids and kick them to the curb either. So, we're really walking a tightrope on, $7.5 million. Hey, it sounds great. I mean, this beautiful structure, I love it. It's great and wonderful. But is that something that we're going to get, like, the ugly pushback from, the citizens saying, what the hell are you doing? Because that's a lot of money. And, we'd have to have a serious bond issue. And it's like that on top of the pool, it's like, yeah, we thought we were going to have, like, a reasonably priced, decent Band-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
But to be told that, we're putting a Band-Aid on an amputation and it's still going to bleed, is one factor. And then, this is not an easy decision. It's not being made today. Let's be perfectly clear to anybody who's watching this. We're not deciding on any of this today. And obviously the Recreation Advisory Group and some other, stakeholders and stuff need to, weigh in also. And I'm sure these are not the only 2 projects Recreation has.
No, they are not.
So, we almost need like a whole separate spreadsheet to do a thorough analysis with what do we do, how much is the financial tolerance, how do we prioritize. Kelly's raising her hand, but somewhere along the trail before the decision gets made, that's going to have to be looked at.
Say that again.
Is it on? Is it on?
Yes.
Harold and I sat down and we actually made a spreadsheet of all the recreation projects with estimated costs and possible funding sources. On the spreadsheet, the hockey is next blast for a possible funding source is what we loaded it in at the big price to redo it with a sprung structure.
Okay,
but
so our current SPLOST was 2023. The next SPLOST would be 28 or is it 29? 29. So then that would put some realm of possibility for construction in 2030. That's only 4 years down the road. So, and we wouldn't have to start it right away as soon as SPLOST got approved. It's just, yeah, we have to, There's a lot to consider.
And that's just a placeholder, like of us going through potential funding sources. Like you said, Councilwoman Brown, we're not expecting y'all to make a decision today. We're going to go through a lot of projects and how much stuff costs with you all, but there's a bigger discussion on what your priorities are and whether what one project goes on
Exactly.
SPOS or comes into the bond that we're going to do sooner. That's still up for debate with
and
you
I-
all.
Let's let him
Yeah.
continue the
Go ahead.
report.
I've got some questions. I haven't had a chance to talk, if you don't mind. Honestly, I'm all in favor of a new building, but let me say that I don't know if we need to knock down and the existing building. It maybe can be repurposed without a lot of extra cost involved to another type of facility. Maybe make it a volleyball area or whatever. You know, it doesn't have to have a hockey rink in it anymore. You can put that someplace else in the city and just leave that building. So all of a sudden, the $5.35 million may not need to be spent, other than maybe some minor fix-ups on it to make it look good. Leave it as an open building, leave it for another purpose. Maybe it's gymnastics outside or whatever the case may be. We do live in a warm weather climate here, so it could be used at least, maybe 8-9 months a year without having some kind of heating done to it, or cooling done to it. So I'm thinking that maybe instead of saying, let's put, as Suzanne said, lipstick on the pig here, just let the pig go through its age, maybe another 5 to 10 years of using it for another repurpose might be something you might want to look at, and then start to plan on putting a new building elsewhere in the city, maybe down at Jim Meade Field next to the pickleball courts. And it doesn't always have to be, I see $7.5 million. That kind of blows me away. It doesn't have to be that type of building. It doesn't have to be a sprung structure. Maybe there's other buildings that can be put up there that'll be a lot less. You see them advertised all the time. I'll put up a 10,000 square foot building for, $1 million. Those kinds of things. So I just wonder if we're going after a Cadillac when really all we need is maybe a Chevy on this thing for the new building. Just my opinion on this, and that's just looking from the outside.
You want to keep going?
All right, 4th of July. So, in my 22 years of being with the city of Peachtree City, my overall feeling, and I might be partially biased, I gotta admit, was probably the best 4th of July celebration I've ever been a part of in Peachtree
No
City.
question.
I agree.
As we always have great grand marshals, but obviously General Harrison, having him for our 250th grand marshal, for the 250th birthday of the country, was phenomenal. He's a great person to hear talk and speak. The Georgia Mass Band was great, and I just kind of want to reflect a little bit on this. Yes, it was live streamed. There was a lot of attendance that occurred on that. I felt like it was probably one of our heaviest attended parades we've ever had. And it's just a great day. We brought Fourth Fest back this year. Yes, we did start at 3 p.m. and yes, it was hot, but Luke Morgan did a phenomenal job up there on stage from 3 to 6. The wind ensemble was great, when they were out there, starting at 7:30. The Liberty Tree dedication was amazing. I've got a lot of veterans in my family, and I appreciate everything that we do for our veterans here in Peachtree City as well. The drone show, I felt was a very good addition. The fireworks were tremendous, being shot off from the barge. So with all this, I've gotten pricing on drone shows again. Is this something that we want to continue, or do we want this to become a special occasion, 4th of July? I know there was a lot of different discussions that were kind of had after that. you can kind of see the price ranges. We had 200 drones this year from Sky Elements. They've given us a discount for 200 for next year. That's actually about 30,000 less than what we paid this year for the drone show for next year, if we go ahead and lock them in. Skyworks is another large company. You see their prices on this. I have asked if each image could be rotated 180 degrees so that more people will be able to see that. Obviously, the more drones you throw at it, the easier and better it's going to be to see it. However, you start getting into $200,000 for drones, that's a lot of money, but again, rotating the images 180 degrees, that's going to limit some of the images that we're able to do. I think we did 21, 22 images this year. It's a 10 to 12 minute time frame is all we get. So if we're spinning and rotating, that's going to eat up more battery power on the drone, so it's going to decrease the amount of images that we get. So, just food for thought, and just kind of want to gauge your interest on what your thoughts are for this next year.
Council?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Start one.
I'm all for going bigger, but money-wise, I think it's a great opportunity for a public-private partnership on this, and an opportunity for sponsors, and you can get, an image of your company. Thank you for donating $50,000, and but if we go bigger, I think hopefully of all the corporations we have in this county and around, and how heavily attended the 4th of July is, it's a great opportunity for some private donors as well. But I think I left that drone show thinking, and the feedback I got, some sort of 3D capability, or I guess a 180 turn, and then maybe a few more drones if there's money. Obviously, that's the big issue. But based off feedback, I don't know about you guys, but people like the drones.
Oh, yeah.
And I asked everybody, would you like to see it again? They're like, yeah.
Yeah, the only complaints I had from anybody were the people who unfortunately were sitting in the wrong place and didn't get to see the forward facing show. And so to see just the line of lights was just not what they thought they were going to see. So yeah, rotating is a great and wonderful thing. Great idea. Sponsors. I mean, yeah, it may mean putting somebody's corporate image or advertising panel in there somehow, incorporated into what we have. But, if that lets us do, a better show with the rotating more, and stay with close to the same number of images, let's see what we can do. I mean,
Councilmember Johnson, any thoughts?
Oh, I have lots of thoughts, and I have a lot of conflicting thoughts, because I think part of me is this was amazing, we need it, but I also think drone shows right now are really cool and novel and new. So is it something that we continue to do, and how new can we make it next year versus this year to justify still doing it, and it's not this is just what we saw last year and we're paying a hefty price tag for something we've already seen. I know I probably sound like a party pooper here, but I think it's something that with that technology and the ability to do this, and so maybe there's more companies that come out, which makes it more competitive, which makes it something easier for us to do because it drives price down. And if that's the case, then possibly and great. But I think it's it's kind of this new arena. So I'm just not quite sure what's the benefit that we're gonna get. And when I'm watching it, I'm this is amazing, absolutely amazing. I love it, but I also have a great shot from where I am, and that wasn't the case for everybody. So the 180 degree factor, that's really intriguing to me. So I'm kind of undecided, but I love the fact that we invested in a barge. I love that we can open up Drake Field every year, and I would bring Luke Morgan back every year. That is something I'm just to be able to sit on the field, hear his music, and having that open, that experience, you can repeat that every year, and I'm there. So with the drone show, I'm just kind of maybe if we get sponsors, but there's part of me that's like, I just want to make sure if we're putting images in the sky, like, I want to be wowed every year if we're going to invest in it. That's kind of where I'm at.
No, I agree. And look, we were only able to get 200 because we were kind of late into the party last year on this project. If we do this drone show, theoretically, if we do it 2 days before the 4th of July, that 500 drone show probably cost a third of what that cost is. They monopolize so heavy on the 4th of July because they know that's when everybody wants those. So, there are other events that we could look at, like do we do a drone show at Hometown Holiday? That's maybe more reasonable if that's it, but I just wanted to throw a bunch of ideas out here, kind of gauge your interest on some things and just see what your thoughts were.
Mr. Holland?
Yeah, my comments are, I did very much enjoy the drone show. And in my opinion, based on what I see as far as costs are concerned, to try to do it on the 4th of July, again, it's going to be quite expensive. So I would not be in favor of doing it then. I like your idea of maybe doing it for other special occasions, maybe at Christmas time or wherever. But I would use that money instead of on drones. I'd go and up our fireworks. I got more comments on the fireworks this past year from people that I spoke with. They really enjoyed it. And maybe there's other things that can be done other than the usual up in the air and explosion or those kinds of things. Maybe there's other fireworks that are available that are special fireworks that do other things other than just going up in the air and exploding. So although I like the drone thing, I think your idea of maybe doing it other than at 4th of July is a good one. But I do like the idea of increasing, maybe throwing some of that money down and put it into the pyrotechnical.
I mean, if we do it at Christmas, can it be like Santa Claus going like across the sky? And I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
like, can they do? I'm like, I
And it might be less money than
Oh, yeah.
4th of July, too.
Yeah.
And I will tell you this, Pyrotechnico also does drones. They actually shoot fireworks out of their drones. That's a possibility.
Oh, good heavens.
I mean,
What?
yeah, it's,
Well, those are the
got
kind
me
of
now.
special things that makes it different. If you're going to
Exactly.
do it again, those are the things you might as well, tick it up a little bit and make it a little more special for the people here in Peachtree City.
I feel like we set a bar, and thank you for keeping us cutting edge. Drones on 4th of July, I don't think we can go backwards from drones on 4th of July. I would keep it at 200 and do the best we can unless we get a good, healthy partnership and could bump it up to something more. But I would keep it on the 4th of July. We've kind of got an expectation now. This is what we do. And I'd like to see it again.
okay.
Oh, and the wind ensemble was phenomenal.
Yes.
They were great.
Yeah, I would bring them back for sure.
We are
Like-
already discussing that.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Just as a 27 note, 4th of July in 27 will actually fall on Sunday. So we are actually going to do the parade on the 3rd for next year on the Saturday morning, and then we'll do the fireworks and the 4th Fest on Sunday afternoon. Obviously, there are a lot of residents that go to church, attend church on Sunday morning, so we don't want to compete with church services and disrupting traffic down there on the south end of town with all that going on. So we're going to move the parade to the 3rd of July. And Matt, I think we've had several discussions about that, about possibly seeing how this goes and seeing what happens, because it is a lot. It's a long day. It's 22, 23 hours for a lot of staff. I know a lot of PD and a lot of fire, they're working 16, 18-hour shifts. So, having that breakup might help as well, but just wanted to let you guys know that was kind of the initial thought going in.
All right, I think we're kind of all across the board, so we'll just look forward to your recommendations on something awesome.
Gotcha. All right, with that, I'm going to turn it over to our Racket Center manager, Mr. Curtis Quan.
Good morning, Curtis.
Good morning. Excuse me. Sorry. Haven't talked in a little while. Good morning. How are you guys?
Awesome.
Doing all right.
Good.
It's good to
All right.
see you out and about. I don't get over to the tennis center as much. It's good to see you again.
Hey, good to see you guys too. We're a public facility. Come see us. That said, just want to give you guys kind of an update as to what we're doing over at the tennis center. Excuse me, as you can see on the slide right now, we are at currently the most memberships that I have witnessed at the tennis center right now at 469. When back in the good or bad old days of when we were with Invited, I think the most as a director I had was I think 420. So to say 469 under the city is something to be proud of, at least in my opinion. Excuse me. We're sorry. Currently hosting in the fall and the spring, which is our kind of busier time for our adult leagues. Hosting about 44 Alta, which is one of our larger league associations, and USTA league teams. So that's our adult stuff. Right now, we have one college conference championship that comes in the spring, the SIAC Conference Championship. If you're not familiar, it's a Division II HBCU championship that has played out of our facility for the last 6 years or so. And my favorite part of the entire year will be coming up pretty soon in late October, early November. We host the men's 50s and 55s National Hardcourt Championships, which is, I think we've mentioned it before at a city council meeting, but just to remind you guys, that's essentially like the US Open for guys that are old. Which Mr. Pappas is familiar with over there.
What part is he familiar with?
So just a couple of the other events that we've had at the facility, we host the a couple of junior USTA level 3 national championships. That brings in kids from all over the country. I've had kids come in from as far away as Seattle, and then all the way down as far as south as Miami. So we bring in kids from all over the country to play at Peachtree City, which is part of the reason that the tennis center exists, right? Like, the hotel motel bringing in, putting heads in beds and eating at our restaurants, things along those lines. On a smaller scale, I host at least one local, what's called UTR. It's a separate platform that just allows us to host more local tournaments for our kids, a lot more beginner to intermediate kids. Most of the kids are coming from Peachtree City, Fayetteville. The furthest away is Auburn, but not often. Sonoy, things along those lines. And so it kind of gives the kids that are a little bit more beginner or intermediate a chance for match play, apart from their normal programming. Excuse me. One of our biggest things that's kind of new to the facility this year, our last bullet point there, is this year the USTA, which is the largest governing body in tennis, has picked us as one of very few sites across the country for their kickoff for a USTA coaching site for camps and clinics. It's basically their opportunity to say, hey, we want to help whether it's coaches or whether it's people in the community, learn how to coach tennis, right? And so they've chosen our facility to have several of their events out of the facility. So we have had about 5 events so far this year, and we have a couple more scheduled through the end of the year as well. So to be picked for that was pretty great. Just because they know that we're a good partner, and we have the space, we have the opportunity to as well with with our old pro shop area and things along those lines, that we have the meeting space to be able to host these kind of events. So our next steps as we continue to move forward as a tennis center. For me as a director, I want to start hosting more and more local social events, right? So one of the things that we have on the calendar next Friday, September 4th, we have a US Open watch party that we'll be having at the tennis center. We're utilizing the awesome video board that Harold was nice enough to purchase for I say us, but I say me. And so we'll be parking it right out front of that picture right there, and we'll be having the U.S. Open broadcast on the giant video board. We're also partnering with one of the vendors in Peachtree City to have drinks and things along those lines to kind of just make it a nice social event. So that's kind of one of our next steps, is to kind of engage community involvement, not just national involvement, because as cool as it is to say that I have kids coming in from New York and Seattle and Miami, at the end of the day we also want to be making sure that we're involving our citizens and things along those lines. Excuse me. Continue to of our growth of junior programs. We have an opportunity to continue to expand the UTR events that I talked about a second ago, as well as some of the lower level USTA events, and then working with the Southern Crescent Tennis Association, which is just an extension of the USTA. The USTA has a lot of different branches. The Southern Crescent Tennis Association is one of those, and they have an interest in continue to grow adult beginner tennis as well. So we're starting to engage with them to provide more adult beginner programming as well. This is something just for food for thought. The old pro shop that we have at the facility, if you've been to the tennis center, that's where we used to have the restaurant. We over years and years and years of, quite frankly, failed restaurants, converted that into when we were invited our pro shop. That was that went away when we took over as a city. It was quite a bit of inventory for really let's say a marginal amount of actual profit. So we took that away. I think, in my opinion, there's an opportunity to convert that into maybe a lounge and also a meeting area. We've used that space over the last couple of years. We had our old director of finance's retirement party there. We've used it over the last couple of years as an opportunity for the lunch area for our summer camps. All of that can still be the case, but if we add a couple of TVs, maybe a couch, that kind of thing, it could be a member benefit as well, to kind of hang out and just kind of allow it to be something for our members, our citizens, to not just take their lesson or hit balls and then just leave the facility immediately. They can relax and find a bit of a feeling of community there.
It's such a nice space.
Yeah, absolutely. And listen, when there were restaurants there that were successful, it worked great. But we found, I've been at the facility for 11 years now, and I've seen at least 5, if not 6 restaurants come and go out of that facility. That's a non-starter. But that said, that doesn't mean it can't be something that we have, as a space for people to kind of relax and to kind of, like I said, whether it's watch a tennis match that we have on Tennis Channel, or just kind of feel like they have an opportunity to just kind of be at the tennis center a little bit longer, which I love.
Question, speaking of facilities, I assume we're going to move fire department admin to the building that we purchased here before too long. Do you have plans for the lower level of the tennis center building?
Yeah, there's different things I'm looking at.
All right. He's a little cagey, but that's okay. He's got
I'm gonna be
plans.
a little bit
He's
cagey
afraid to
too.
share
I
it
love
here.
It's
FD,
okay.
or FD down there.
I'm sorry?
I'm going to be cagey too. I like those guys down there with me.
Yeah, I would think.
Well, we had someone have an event there recently, and
Yeah, we'll call it an event.
yeah,
a cardiac event.
having the fire guys there.
Yeah, Will did a tremendous job there, our first responders are tremendous, but to have them literally in the building is certainly a privilege.
I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So our financials for this year, we're just about similar in revenue to what we've been the last couple of years. We generally average in revenue-wise about 1.2 to 1.3. Now, this year, we still haven't completely closed out works. We generally expect in September around 100 grand, so we should be right on track for our revenue for this year until we build more courts or we expand programming, which is always our goal. We're going to continue to be along those lines. We've had a couple of our pros. We have most of our pros stay on. We've had a couple of our pros start to just because they're old. No offense, Mike. Start to kind of phase out. But at the same time, we're always continuing to hire kind of our younger and newer people, which is good, refreshing. They're always willing to push and work. So.
Can we clarify old for the sport?
Yeah, sorry, old for the sport. My fault. Yeah.
I was gonna have a few words about.
Yeah.
We're all getting old at the same rate, Curtis. The same rate. Some of us are just further ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. No, but we say old for the sport or old for their coaching career. We'll say, Kelly. So we've had a couple of them start to phase out, but at the same time, we're still hiring, some of our younger people, which is, it's always an interesting and unique challenge in Peachtree City to hire, younger pros. I can say myself, when I came here, I was a little bit young for the city of Peachtree City, but at the same time, as you age into being a citizen of this area, it's a great place to be, right? So selling, those pros on the vision of having a real career here is really, really useful. But
Curtis, can you go over with council how we work with the pros, like how it works financially?
Absolutely.
And how we handle them?
So right now we have a revenue split, and it's based on their professional certification. So right now, the biggest sort of certifications are either USPTA or PTR, which are basically just the two certification systems for tennis. If you have the top certification, it's a revenue split of 80-20, where the pro gets 80% of the revenue that they bring in, we get 20, and then the next level down is 75-25, and then the lowest level is 70-30. And so most of our pros right now are at 75-25. We have a couple that are at 70-30, and then we have one that's at 80-20. And so that's how we break down our professionals right now, because they're all considered right now independent contractors, so that's how we contract them out.
So if I remember right, was it January of 2024 that we took over?
That's correct.
Is that correct? And I think if I remember right, that first year we broke even plus 50,000. 70,000. Oh, okay, I'll leave it. I just wondered how we are continuing to do.
Yeah, so we've had some more expenditures over the last couple of years. If you see our operating supplies and our small tools and equipment, things along those lines, have continued to go down. But as programming goes up, we
Can you grab a pointer and maybe walk us through what you're talking about?
Is it this one?
Thanks.
So here is what we're talking about. So our operating and things along those lines, supplies, have gone down over the last couple of years. And then if you look up at most of our tennis lessons, so our biggest one here, last year we were pretty high with our tennis lessons, and this year we're down a good bit. That's one of the things that we talked about, or I talked about a second ago, where some of our higher level revenue split pros have started to phase out, and we've hired on pros that, in my opinion, are still doing a great job, but we have a more favorable revenue split with them. And so that's where we're heading in that direction.
Hey, Curtis, in the last column there, the 25-26,
Yep.
is that a full year, or is that is it only 11 months or something like that?
So we still have September to get through.
Okay, so this is
and
11-month number.
That's correct. So
Okay.
we still anticipate, and like I said, September is a pretty solid month for us generally at the tennis center. August is a little bit tougher, July is a little bit tougher. But generally September we do around a little bit over 100 grand in revenue for September. So I think we're heading in the right direction there.
So that'll make that number, that negative number at the bottom there, get a little less red.
That's correct.
Okay.
So what's your takeaway when you look at these numbers? What should our takeaway be?
In my opinion, the biggest two things that we need to continue to push are, I'm going to continue to expand membership, and then I want to continue, programming, it's always going to be a split of revenue, but at the same time, as we continue to expand revenue, it's on both ends, right? The pros make more, and then we also make more. And then as well, and this is going to be kind of maybe on my next slide with needs is, tournaments and things along those lines are something that brings in revenue that's a relatively small amount of expense on our end, because we're the ones that are running that. Now this is where we get into our facility needs, and this is where.
Can I ask Curtis one question before you step away? With memberships, how much is the membership for a year right now for one person?
For a resident, single resident, member, single resident is $44 a month, which is pretty reasonable, and that's something that we consider as a benefit as a citizen. That's certainly something that we could look at increasing. I don't know how much pushback we get from that, but if you look from a general area, we have a pretty reasonable membership rate, but at the same time, that's something that we provide as a city as well. So.
Well, the reason why I asked is because we're learning the lessons as we go too, and one of the lessons I've kind of picked up along the trail is that sometimes it's better to do the little incremental increases in something like a membership or a fee, as opposed to struggling along, watching your numbers go down the toilet, and then having to do a large increase, because when you do the large increase, I'm imagining with tennis, just like with anything else, you're going to see the departure of more people than you anticipate.
Sure.
So, it's just, I only ask because it's like the minor adjustments on an annual basis may be well worth it, instead of, hitting the big whammy and losing lots of, tennis players.
No, absolutely, I totally get that.
So, okay.
And do we have a comparison on membership costs to other places around the state? And are we reasonably priced in the middle, at the lower end, or the higher end on a membership cost?
We're, like I said, pretty reasonable, average-wise. Now, that said, we are unique as a facility in that we are, I would argue, one of the more premier public facilities, not just in the state, but the entire country, right? So we look like a country club, but we're not a country club, right? But at the same time, we are a city facility, we are a public facility, and we need to keep those contexts in mind as well.
Is Columbus public? Columbus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Curtis, I have a question. Out of this, I think you said there's 469 memberships or
Yes.
something like that. What's the split between resident and non-resident?
We're actually about half and half.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what's
so
the
we
fee
do
for?
pull in a good bit of non-membership or non-residents. So if it's 44 for a resident, I believe it's 59 for a non-resident.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Congratulations on having such a high membership rate.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah.
That's awesome. So I guess in my mind, I would almost think with the popularity of pickleball, maybe those numbers would dwindle. I don't know if there's any relation here between the two, but do you see the popularity of one helping the popularity of another?
I to be completely frank, not particularly.
Okay.
I don't. There's some overlap, really, but you know, the people that play tennis, and I've said this before, and I said it to Kim when we opened the pickleball facility down there. I have little interest in the culture war between pickleball and tennis, but you know, there are several people that play pickleball or tennis, but there's a lot of tennis players that are vehemently non-pickleball, and I don't necessarily support that thought process, but yeah, most of the people that are playing tennis are playing a good bit of tennis and a little bit of pickleball, and then the people that are playing pickleball are playing a lot of pickleball and a little bit of tennis.
Yeah. Okay, thanks. And that makes sense. And for what it's worth, I did have a comment recently from a citizen who is highly invested in the tennis center and who speaks to me frequently about the upgrades and the maintenance issues that are the tennis center is currently facing. His comment to me was that, you know, if it meant that they could get the renovations and maintenance that it needed, that they would be willing to pay a higher fee. So food for thought.
That's great feedback. Thank you.
All right, and you know, just looking at this, there was a couple things that kind of jumped out at me. You know, from a maintenance standpoint at the tennis center, if you look at building repair and maintenance for this year, it's a little bit high, 11,188. That number kind of correlates with if you look at some water usage between the 2 years. We did have a couple water leaks out there last year towards November, December that we were able to find. We got them repaired, I think, in January and February, so those kind of correlate to each other.
Water leaks in the building?
No, in the ground for the water pipes coming to the facility as well. So you see those for irrigation, drinking water, you know, ground freezes, you find them, ground shifts. So some of that correlates to that. So like that 11,188, probably 5,000-6,000 of that could have come from that, which, you know, that's not a yearly thing that we're going to see, hopefully. So ultimately that could bring that 41,000 dip that we're at right now. That's a little bit responsible for it. You know, that kind of fixes itself over time moving forward. So, you know, we do feel strongly about September is going to put us back in the positive side of things. So just food for thought.
Thank you.
All right, so the third document that you received at your desk is a cost estimate or a budget for what Tarquette Sports. We have looked at them coming in and doing a 2-phase renovation at the tennis center. Phase 1 would essentially account for all the current asphalt courts. It would be 12 of them. And then phase 2 would include the clay courts and the covered courts. These would be total rebuilds, much like what the pickleball facility turned into. If we were to go out and resurface right now all our tennis courts, which all of them need to be resurfaced, you know, pretty soon. If we go out and resurface all those courts right now, we're going to get about 2 to 3 years out of a resurfacing at best with asphalt and painting. We are looking at doing another deal with Tarquette, much like we did the pickleball courts, where we're doing post-tension concrete. We get a 50-year warranty on the concrete, and then we'll get a 10-year warranty on the surfacing. With this, we would also we would phase in new LED lights and move the poles out of the centers of the courts so that they would be more accessible and not have to worry about hitting your forehand into a light pole as you're diving out to hit that ball. So the budget numbers for that project for those 2 phases is $5,515,395. We originally started with a 4-phase approach to this, so that we would still have 18 courts running at one time. The budget estimate we got over that was over $8 million. So
To do
by-
what? What makes it 8?
if we did 4 phases instead of just 2. So this would have, we would have, doing the 2 phases, we would have 12 courts open the entirety of while the project was going on. So we would still be able to, serve our members, still be able to have tennis lessons, and still be able to function as a center. So, food for thought as this is a need. We do have a lot of memberships, 469 of those. We are self-standing, budget-wise, or sustaining. So, this is something that we need to look at moving forward, much like we discussed with the pool, with the hockey project. This is another one that we're at the steps. A lot of our facilities, mid to early 90s were built. We're at the 35-year-old threshold where we've got to do something to do some serious renovations on these facilities. So here's another one that we've teed up that we need to look at seriously.
Harold, are there tournaments or events out there that if we increase the number of our courts, we'd be able to attract? Like, are we on a threshold at all where, like, if we're doing a renovation, if we add more courts, then we would qualify to bring in more events?
Yeah, I'm gonna let Curtis speak on that, but obviously the number one thing, if we have courts, we've got to have parking too. So there's no way for that.
Are we short on parking right now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Short on parking. Right now we have a good amount of courts. What my concern is, quite frankly, when I'm bidding on the higher level events, like we talked about my national championship or the any college championships that are coming in, are the quality of the courts currently. If I have cracks, things along those lines, they're just not going to select our facility because of the court quality, right? So it doesn't make that big of a difference in junior tennis lessons. But if I'm bidding on a tournament that's bringing in people that are higher visibility and quality and things along those lines, I need the courts to be tightened up a little bit better.
Great, thank you.
I've never thought that the number of courts was a concern. I've always thought it's the condition of our existing courts. Is that true?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah.
Question along that same line, Curtis. If we're going to be looking at spending $5 million, and if we can, that will help us increase getting better tournaments coming in at higher costs for us, higher revenue for us. Is there a relationship between the quality of the courts, the number of big tournaments you can bring in, and revenue? Is there a connection between all of that that'll show up in your financials?
So when we bring in tournaments, it's two different parts, right? The people that are coming in and renting our courts from us, that's certainly revenue coming in. But at the same time, there's the other part of that is the people that are coming into Peachtree City, they're staying in our hotels, that are spending money at our restaurants, things along those lines. So there's a financial benefit to the city that's not necessarily going to show up right on my bottom line.
Okay.
But that's part of the reason, from what I've always been told as a director, that that's what part of my job is, right? So that's it's twofold, right? And I don't mean to be up my high horse, but at the same time, it's not just my bottom line, but my facility is here to benefit the citizens of Peachtree City in several different ways, whether it's programming or whether it's putting bringing people into Peachtree City.
And to elaborate on that a little bit more, the tennis center is included in our tourism product development for that fund. So over the years, we do infuse money into the tennis center for some bigger upgrades, things like that. There's not enough brought in to do an upgrade of $5 million on the court. So that's something beyond the tennis center financials and the TPD financials. But I think, have we used TPD at all at the tennis center this year?
I don't think we
Because that's the thing too is, one thing is you see that they're at a 40,000 in the red, 76,000 last year. Since we used the grant money 3-4 years ago, we haven't really infused any tourism money into the tennis center. So, but they have brought tourism in. So, I really think they are technically in the black. Like if we decided let's infuse some of that TPD into the tennis center like we do with the Fred every year, they would be in the black, and because they do generate tourism for the city.
And remember, that's only 11 months too that we're showing that
Correct.
red.
Yeah,
So
they,
you
yeah,
still
they
got
could
one
get
more
back in the
month to
black
go.
this year
Could be
without
in the black.
without tourism money.
Right, exactly.
So
So what's our way forward? I mean, what's your suggestion, Justin? Where are we gonna get $5.5 million that we need to refurbish all these courts, lights?
we have a spreadsheet, but I also have kind of written some stuff down. I kind of want Harold to get to the end of his presentation
Okay.
and talk more about
We keep
Uh,
cutting them off. We
funding
do.
sources.
It's terrible.
Sounds good.
I think he should
He's
be able to
used
get
to
through
us.
the rest of it fairly quickly. I think these were the big items that we've been talking about.
Can I ask one more question while we're here?
Yes.
Is there room for parking? It seems like back when,
Yeah.
I almost don't want to say this, but when we were looking at doing pickleball there was the availability of doing parking across the
Correct.
street.
Yeah, we looked
Is
at
there
when we were
parking
looking at doing
extension?
pickleball
Downhill.
in the front. We added some additional parking. I think golf cart parking along that same side, and then we had additional car parking on the other side of the road, which we do own. I think now that we know pickleball is not going to be there, we could even look at potentially expand parking into that front lawn if we wanted to.
Yeah.
We could look at it,
Sure.
and we could look at across the street too. We could look at both.
Yeah, by all means.
Okay,
Thank you, guys.
Thanks,
thank you.
Chris.
Madam Mayor, it's 10:30. If you want to take a quick break, we're at a good little
Thank
break
you.
point.
All right, we'll take 10 minutes tops.
And then y'all gotta let him go through it.
Yeah, we do. Thanks, Harold. Keep us going.
Item is the Jim Mead Memorial Pickleball Complex. There's a great overhead drone shot at night of it. Beautiful photo, beautiful complex. This is kind of more of a, how great was this project? How great did it turn out? How wonderful has it been for the citizens? We've even got a group of teens that's out there every evening kind of doing their own thing, and it's refreshing to see that. High school kids out there playing all the time. We've got some things that we're programming this. We're going to do a pickleball league starting up, which we'll get into that a little bit more, out there, that it's actually easy. It kind of officiates itself. There's not really much labor intensive on our part. We just provide it and set it up, set the games up, and we, benefit from it. We did a couple tournaments. We had the grand opening tournament that was a free tournament when we opened the place. And then we also did a teen tournament hosted by our interns this summer that were both big successes. We've had some socials. We've had, a lot of things going on out there. It's been tremendous. We are working with Georgia Power, just to kind of hit on this, an easement agreement for the parking lot lights. So we're working on as-builts for that to get those surveys to them. So, and continuing with the Mead Athletic Complex, I wanted to touch on a few things that we've completed. And there's somebody in this room that'll get a chance to speak here in a moment that's very excited about one of them. Last year we did a lot down there with concrete, making the facility at girls softball ADA accessible so that you can actually get from the parking lot to the bleachers, to the dugouts, to the concession stand, to the restrooms in a wheelchair if necessary now. So we also added electricity and lights and fans to the pavilion down there, which a lot of the parents love that now, especially in the hot summer evenings. We just redid all the new parking lots, thanks Jonathan, and for helping us with that. As well as we got the new driveway put in, and somebody actually came up with a name of that, of Capable Way. That's the motto of our girls softball league, so there we go. At La Crosse we've done, the parking lot upgrades as well. We've done a lot of sodding, a lot of top dressing, which we'll cover that later on in our athletic field maintenance slides. All right, at the Peachtree City Athletic Complex, we have just completed a baseball netting project at the upper pinwheel. We added 4 nets, excuse me, that were kind of cantilevered over the home plate area. You can see it. This is the fence. The net kind of stretches right behind home plate so that any of those foul balls that would go higher than that net that used to be there are now caught and stay on the field. We've had a lot less people getting hit, but with foul balls. Various parking lot improvements. It's the parking lot, Jonathan, correct me if I'm wrong, it's ADA compliant now as well, with the concrete handicap spaces that you're seeing right through here. And those are at various locations, whether it's Field of Hope, soccer, upper or lower baseball. We have the new golf cart parking spots, at the complex as well. This is between soccer and the upper pinwheel. Our athletic field maintenance that we're working on year round with sodding, irrigation, top dressing, fertilization, and our infield work, that occurs through all the facilities with infields for baseball or softball.
Is Chad still here full time, Chad?
Yes, most definitely he is. He's amazing. One thing that we do need to discuss, and this is another one of our future needs, we've upgraded a lot of our LED lights. We've done girls softball, we've done lacrosse, we've done baseball, we've done the Field of Hope. There's 3 if you include the tennis center. We still have soccer at PAC. They need to be upgraded to LEDs. Riley football fields, they need to be upgraded to LEDs. And we'll hit on that in just a second.
Two fields there at Riley?
Yeah, 2 fields at Riley and 6 fields at PAC. The estimated conversion for PAC to LED is going to be somewhere between $2.5 to $3 million.
is that per field? Is that what you're saying?
That's for all 6 of those fields.
Okay, I was like, that's
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 6 fields would be how much, did you say?
Between $2.5 and $3 million.
Okay.
And we're already starting to hear the calls from soccer. Hey, we see baseball got theirs done. Hey, we see softball's done. We see lacrosse is done. We bring in a lot of revenue to the city. When are we getting ours done? And we'll get to their revenue here in just a second. So this is some of Chad Austin's wonderful work. These are our soccer fields currently at the Peachtree City Athletic Complex. Some of the best turf that I've seen on a recreation soccer field in a long time. Most of them are going to synthetic turf. We are natural, and that's how beautiful ours look. That's a testament to what our fertilization program, our whole turf grass management regimen, that's a testament to what it is throughout the city. All right.
Is this fellow an agronomist that can come up with such beautiful grass like this?
So he actually graduated from the University of Georgia with a turf management degree.
Okay, so he's got the
He's
Worked at Fenway
pedigree
Park.
for this.
Yes,
That's-
he
Worked
did
at
an
Fenway Park.
internship with the Red Sox up at Fenway Park.
Wow.
He worked for Georgia Tech. I know that's weird, a UGA grad working at Tech.
And he's
but
he works with us or for
he
us?
is one of my supervisors,
Oh,
yes.
wow.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
He's
It is.
full-time.
That is beautiful.
All right, so I want to talk about our soccer financials, and the next 3 slides are actually all of our athletic associations that use the Peachtree City Athletic Complex. So this is only the AFC Lightning soccer program. They currently have 888 participants, and to date for FY26, we've brought in $37,660.15. That's
How many participants? I missed that.
888.
Thank you.
Harold, can you explain that the jump?
I was about to say it's because of MOBA, right?
Yes.
Because MOBA left,
Well,
or MOBA went under.
Somewhat.
Or not.
There's several things. Actually, the way that we were capturing some of the numbers, we've kind of cleaned some of that up. The AFC organization works throughout Fayette County. There's also a branch of them that's down in Macon and some of that. So we went through and basically said, anybody that's using our facility, we need to make sure that we're capturing some of those funds on that. So that's why you're seeing that increase, is that we're actually capturing what we're supposed to be capturing from AFC now. All right, so now let's go to the Peachtree City Lasers. They have 1,292 participants. And to date, for FY26, we have received $45,650 from that program. Now let's talk about Peachtree City Little League. We have 637 participants, and we have captured $18,375 from them this year.
And
Today.
that number, that number should match last
Yes.
year's because fall ball.
Yes, fall baseball
Hasn't
registration has just taken
reported.
place, and we have not received all that in just yet. So we expect that to be around the $25,000 to $30,000 mark. With that, that's going to put that complex, the revenue generation, well over $100,000 for the year. And if you look at the total participants, we are in the almost 2,800 to 3,000 athletes are utilizing that facility. So yes, to hear soccer say, hey, everybody else has lights, where's ours? Now you're seeing why we're starting to get a lot of that.
And Lasers also has programming at Glenlock,
Correct.
right? But-
And also they're using the soccer field at Braylon as well also.
okay.
Most of what happens at Braylon, I believe, is their 4Us or small little tykes that are out there on the little fields. But yes, they have 3 facilities they're using.
And I think I've shown y'all this before with our data tracking, but the PAC is by far our most heavily used facility that we own of the city, like with no contest of any other facility or complex. I think it's got 300,000 a year.
Yeah, it's
300,000 a year move through that complex.
I
Which
think we've
is
seen
More than double the next facility we have.
I think one year we actually had almost 500,000 through Placer AI data
Sure.
that actually touched it, and that was with all.
I do expect mead numbers to go up now that pickleball's there,
I would agree.
but I don't think anything will get close to the pack.
Yeah. I don't either. And, you know, this weekend, for instance, we've got a Sunday tournament. You know, we've got Little League's gonna be playing baseball on Saturday, with practices and games and stuff out there. Sunday, we've got a baseball tournament. Tyler was here a minute ago. We worked with Tyler on bringing several baseball tournaments into the city. Brandon Maddox, with Training Legends Baseball, is actually gonna have a tournament this Sunday only. And they've rented all 9 fields for our baseball tournament. So that's another revenue stream that we're bringing in that's not captured on these association financials. And that's, you know, even with, I think soccer is the same way. We've got a couple of tournaments that we're bringing in that's captured by outside independent organizers as well. So just food for thought on that as well.
Not to mention the fantastic adult league.
Exactly. Exactly.
What's that, Michael?
You don't want to see me out there, trust me.
All right, so at Braylon, we recently converted the pickleball courts. I know John Riley is extremely thrilled to see that pickleball
My
court-
grandkids are mad.
Can't make everybody happy, but I can try.
Which just goes to show you, I didn't make the decision for my own family needs.
But we've had a lot of success with the new tennis courts. A lot of people have been using them. They turned out great. They're beautiful.
Are they post-tension concrete?
No, they're not. These are just asphalt. You know, just try to get them back up and running as quickly as we could, to bring that amenity back. All right, let's talk about the Braylon multi-purpose field. Back in 2025, I received 2 quotes, one from Deluxe Athletics and the other from Sports Turf. Deluxe Athletics actually quoted this field 2 separate ways. So before I start talking about the quotes, let's look at what it is. So this is the current soccer field, and this is a dated picture. This baseball field, you know, is the multi-purpose field currently. That's the dirt has been sodded in, it's grass, the outfield fence has been removed. There's about a 3 to 4 foot elevation difference between these 2 fields that has to be overcome for this to happen. So significant grading. I believe it's to the tune of almost 1,500 cubic yards of dirt has to be moved. But currently we're set up to where we can have 1 soccer field, which currently the Lasers have that split up into 4 fields for their 5U little guys. And the proposed multi-purpose field would encapsulate this red perimeter all the way around, would be usable for cricket, would be usable for anything, you know, that we'd need a field that size for. So we received a quote of a little over $4 million from Deluxe Athletics for a synthetic turf field and all the grading on this project to encompass that. Also received a quote for $2.85 million to do that same area in just natural grass. Sports Turf was a little more vague. I didn't get quite the detail of the quote, but what they did say, it included the grading, irrigation side, a synthetic cricket pitch area would be included, and that was ranging between $750,000 to $850,000. Again, these are from 2025 is when I got these quotes, so I'm sure they would have gone up a little bit in range. I think 2.8 is probably really high, and I think the 750, 850 mark's probably a little low. I would think this project would hit somewhere between $1.25 to $1.5 million realistically.
What does it look like if, this is old photo, oh, I get it, but what does it look like, synthetic turf cricket pitch area? That's permanent?
It would be a permanent fixture. Obviously, we could redo the synthetic turf as it gets worn out. It's just like carpet. You pull it up, put new stuff down. as it wears out. And I think it has a 10-year.
It's
life.
not portable.
No. It would actually be in the turf, and it would kind of sit somewhere right here in the center,
Okay.
where the path currently is, so that it would not interfere with soccer possibly on this field or soccer on this field. I was looking for another rendering where we could actually put a baseball field right here, so that you could still use it for baseball as well if it was a synthetic turf field. Or even if it was grass. But I mean, obviously, if we were to do synthetic, we would want it painted for 2 separate soccer fields, possibly even 4 smaller soccer fields on each one of those fields in different colors. We could do a baseball field or a softball field,
And cricket.
Several different sports.
The pitch for cricket would only be a small amount just for their pitching and batting. Is that correct?
The pitch is correct. However, a full-size regulation cricket field is extremely large.
Yeah, but it doesn't have to be synthetic, though.
No. It can be natural.
Just the pitch
Just
area
the pitch
has to
area,
be.
yes, so it doesn't
Right.
get worn out. Much like second base on a baseball field.
The-
Constant sliding or batter's
Yep.
boxes, constant digging out. It would help alleviate some of that issue.
Okay. That's what I thought.
So, just some budget numbers. If I know there's been some discussions about this in the past about moving this project possibly forward. So, I can certainly get new refreshed numbers if you would like on this project.
I think we're gonna need that,
Okay.
don't you?
I agree. But Harold, with the natural turf, we still have the same amount of flexibility, right?
Correct.
And then obviously you don't have to renew the turf, synthetic turf, in 10 years, which is going to be very
Correct.
costly.
Correct. But I think the biggest cost in this project is gonna be the grading, because there's so much dirt. I mean, it's an acre and a half that you gotta move and spread out over essentially 3 acres, to level those two fields out.
And just for the presidents who may be tuned in for this, I mean, the intent here, I think, for me always was more multi-purpose
Correct.
field. Because the thing that came up in our rec master plan, you just hear, we just have more, a need for more capacity of folks to just go out there and throw a frisbee or play football, or have some of our organizations have some events out there, so.
Yeah, and I've discussed this with our soccer associations a little bit, not really much. But obviously, if we were to do some grading, and they're currently using 4 fields for 5 U's right now, if we removed that and it wasn't a multi-purpose field, that would hurt our soccer programs currently. This would actually give us a little more flexibility to add a little bit more to our soccer programs, if we were to do this as well, because currently we do not allow rental of this field. This is a neighborhood use field, first come, first serve, an open, passive area where if you want to go throw a baseball with your son, you can go out here and throw a baseball with your son. If you want to go throw a football with your son, you can. If you want to go play kickball, you can. You'll never have to worry about a reservation going on. We have had some grass volleyball out there just when we knew nothing was really going on, but we've since moved a lot of that to Riley and other locations. So yeah, this currently is just a residential field, which would still be allowed to be used, moving forward, but we would have some flexibility to add some more programming there.
Is there space here for, or opportunity here for flag football?
There is, which we currently are offering some of that through the Peachtree City Youth Football Association. They're doing flag football as well, and we've also adopted some adult flag football leagues as well in-house. Our athletic coordinator's been programming that, so yes, and you'll see some financials of that in a few more slides.
Hey, Harold, I'm looking at these fields, and both of them are about 220 feet wide and appropriately 330 feet long. But I noticed that the goalie area of these two are, maybe it's just a drawing. Why do you have 2 different sized goalie areas?
That was just the drawing. They were
Just a drawing?
Yeah, they
Okay.
would both be comparable full-size soccer
They
fields,
will
yes.
be both full size. That just says on the dimensions they're full size.
Yeah.
Okay.
let's talk about Riley. So, you know, obviously we've done some renovations out there with turf. You know, we're constantly doing that. We've redone the track recently. There's a couple projects that do need to happen out there. I mean, number one is conversion to LED lights. On the upper field, there are concrete poles. The lower field is still the wooden poles. They need to be completely changed. Therefore, the estimated cost for the two fields at Riley is going to be in the $2.5 million range to convert to LEDs as well. Because they're the age of the complex, we will have to do some underground wiring as well with those poles. The restrooms are still connected to a septic system. We need to get those connected to the sewer. Every 4 to 6 months, we have to get WASA to come pump the tanks out. And then, you know, once we get that done, we've also got the parking lot that needs to be redone and repainted and restriped and reworked up there as well. So, the picnic shelter that's currently there is the old wooden structure. It's on its last life as well. We've got a quote on that to replace it with more of a modern surface mount structure at $31,700. That's something that we could move forward on, you know, out of either a CIP project or you know, another funding source moving forward as well. So some athletic field maintenance numbers. So again, here's another one of Chad's amazing outfields for the baseball field, right? This summer alone, we've installed 147 pallets of sod. We've top dressed with 700 tons of sand on our athletic facilities. And that's on top of our irrigation. Because in order to keep this green and nice, we got to keep it watered. So irrigation, fertilization, infield maintenance. Again, these maintenance items, they're 15 full-time employees that are doing all this. With that, I got someone special I want to bring up to the podium to give an update on our Recreation Advisory Group.
Good morning. For those that don't know, I'm Erin McDowell. I'm the chair of our Recreation Advisory Group. On a personal note, I know that Harold showed Mead and that we have a road to the softball at Mead now. And he said that it's named Capable Way. For those that don't know, you can look at any of the hundreds of softball players that play there per season and you can say, you are, and they will yell at you, more than capable. So, Capable Way is something that I hope for generations to come, these girls come back, they have kids, they come coach, and they're able to say, you are more than capable. And the city was able to give them Capable Way. So, thank you guys for that. On our advisory group, we have our vice chair, Rohit Nanda. We have Joe, oh goodness. Yes, Joe T. Tommy Johnson, Michael Pappas is here, Stacy Clark, and Jordan Childress. Every slide that Harold is going over today are all projects that our group has talked about, worked with citizens on. We go through everything and take it very seriously. We do serve at the pleasure of council, so as you guys throw things at us, we try and give our best recommendations back to you guys. We welcome everything that you send our way. Our mission statement is the Peachtree City Recreation Advisory Group is a citizen-supported advisory body committed to providing informed, community-driven guidance in support of the city of Peachtree City's recreational goals by advocating for accessible, sustainable, and inclusive recreation programs, facilities, services, and opportunities that serve the needs of the community. Our group is such a diverse group that gets along that every opinion is taken into consideration. We have Stacy, who is very much an advocate for accessibility. We are of all ages, all backgrounds, and it is just such a pleasure to go to these meetings and hear everyone's comments. And it is something that I am very proud to support. Things that we've worked on throughout the year, obviously pickleball complex was a huge one. We restructured our entire meeting agendas to make sure that we heard everyone, to make sure that we were able to accommodate everything that people were looking forward to in this facility. Currently, the past couple of meetings, playground updates and improvement projects, we have taken into every single tot lot, every single facility for large playgrounds. We have gone over and we are continuing to go over. Kedron Pool Project, I was also able to go with council and go see the sprung structure up in Jefferson. Tot lot recommendations, we have started our list of what should be worked on first. And sent that. Let's see, Battery Way concepts, we go through those. Braylon Rec, just like you were talking about the turf facility or installing turf there. And we were able to do 4th of July judging this year, which was so much fun. So thank you guys for allowing us to have this group. Please send things our way. We are always there to serve for you guys and for the city. So thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Is there anything else you need at softball?
A road was plenty. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this group's been awesome to work with. They are very well structured. Michael, you remember the first starting of this group, how things kind of came along, and it was kind of me getting into being the director and assistant director and how that all flowed, and it's just amazing to grow together.
I want to say what a relief it is to know that you're here, that you guys are taking this. You're the liaison between the citizens and council, and this input from you guys is so valuable. And thank you. Thanks, Mike, and thanks, Aaron, and all of you for all you do. We appreciate it. We don't say it very often, but we do.
All right. So, we got another person here that I want to bring that has actually come up with these concepts. This is Mr. James Anderson with Carter and Sloop, and he has been doing a lot of research on using our master plan that we adopted last year to come up with these concepts, and I'll let him navigate and talk through some of these.
So this is our interpretation of a concept for the Kelly Drive Park. It's been used as a community garden for the past few years, and the city is interested in reprogramming it into a more active space. We had a concept that was included in the master plan that was prepared for the city of Peachtree City recently. And it had some really good ideas, and they did some community surveys, and were able to get a lot of data points on what the community was really interested in. So this, oh, I skipped. See what I meant? Oh, okay, I see it now. Sorry. It has, yeah, there we go. So this is the our interpretation of the original concept. And we just kind of added a little granularity and detail. But as you can see, okay, there we go. Sort of the main focal point would be the farmers market, which was a lot of community interest was expressed in the farmers market and restrooms. Being a veterans memorial, we had they had that located off sort of adjacent to the parking lot plaza, and it's a nice concept. It has a sort of a curvilinear flow and expanded parking area, as well as opportunities for future expansion with an amphitheater and tot lot and that sort of thing. So we kind of took this concept and some of the ideas that were included in it, and sort of looked at a little bit more of the engineering constraints of the site, topography for one, some easements that are located on site, and tried to make the focus of the veterans component a little more of a highlight to the program. So we have this area and two identical pavilions set on an axis that leads into a veterans memorial, so you kind of see it as you're coming in, which kind of gives it a little more focus, where you can see this will be relocated, which is off on this campus. There's currently an obelisk and the memorial pavers and a flagpole, and that would all be relocated to this area. And then the farmers market would integrate into that program. A lot of interest in the farmers market, and I think this would be a really great opportunity as it's centralized in the city. They're building a farmers market. It's a little more than just setting up a pavilion. You need, if they're bringing in vendors, they need a dedicated parking space that's shaded. They'll be there all day. A space to clean, produce and dispose of waste and so forth. So this is what we kind of took to the advisory meeting after that first iteration of concepts, working with some of Harold's input, and then talking with the advisory council, and then this is the latest and greatest of the Memorial Park Kelly Drive concept. So adding in a little more detail. So they wanted to see where we could park food trucks. Farmers markets usually have a place where it's ready to eat produce that they'll bring, so breads and coffees and things like that. So a nice cafe type area with still focusing on the Veterans Memorial front and center as the main program of this area, and then adding sort of the restrooms is a must, and the community definitely expressed interest in having a restroom facility access on this area of the park. Or of this local community. We also could potentially reprogram areas along the parking lot for food trucks, trailheads, things like that. Just kind of building in specific amenities as the concept develops. But as of right now, we have space allotted for future expansion, a potential amphitheater. This will be a fairly low-tech installation that could be used for impromptu events. Nothing of a large production scale. Just general concepts here, depending on the level of finish that you wanted. Something that has a modest amount of lighting, a limited amount of grading and installations and things like that. Some of these facilities could get a little expensive. This one in the bottom has a lot of hardscape, and this is a very well maintained amphitheater. Something along like a 4-H type recreational facility where it's a little more passive. But that's just some ideas that we were putting together as part of this concept development program.
Can we take that back just a couple of slides? Where you're looking at the number of parking spots, right there. This one, I think this is the latest one.
No, this is the last.
That's the one. I noticed it's about 40 parking spots. If you're going to have a farmer's market there, is that enough parking spots for that? I'll let the recreation group figure that out. But if it's going to be multi-use for both the Veterans Park and a farmer's market. I mean, I go to the farmer's market every month, if not even more than that, and I can tell you there's way more parking spaces over by the old Partners Pizza than what you're putting in here, if my count is correct.
Yeah, and again, these are just concepts. I mean, we do have. Let me get this to work. All right, so we do have this whole grassed area. This is more where the plots used to be at the community garden. So obviously, as we do to a lot of our events, we encourage golf karting to events. Okay. So therefore, we would, you'd be able to park in some grassed areas with a golf cart. So that would open up some additional parking as well.
Well, and you have at the spillway, there's a few spots there, and you're right down the street from BMX and all that area. You could always shuttle.
Correct.
Council, I feel like I walked into the wrong room. Farmers market?
Yeah.
Farmers market at this location?
That was what.
I was surprised too, Kim.
I thought we were looking for Veterans Memorial, outdoor minimized amphitheater, possibly a food truck area, certainly a bathroom, some kind of botanical connection of this space to Flat Creek Boardwalk. Maybe we partner with Southern Conservation Trust or look for a grant. I have one company who might partner with us on something botanical there. Maybe I've been sleeping at the wheel. I did not see farmers market coming at this
I
location.
don't think
So
anyone
with
did.
it,
That's a
I
first
think it
for
would
me.
be more of a multi-purpose
Pavilion type.
pavilion, pole barn that could be used for shading. If we're having a Memorial Day event and we build the amphitheater, there would be some shaded areas that if it's hot, you could stand under some shaded areas to cool off.
Okay.
It would be more of a pavilion area where we could have some picnics, where you could have reserve one of the pavilions to have a birthday party at if you wish.
You know, there's a cute pavilion there now that really is underutilized because there's no bathrooms there.
Correct. And it was kind of the thought, and the reason the whole farmers market was brought into it was back, if you go back to the CPL master plan, that was one of the things that was brought in there, and we just essentially took that master plan and said, you know, James, will you and Carter and Sloop kind of develop this into a concept so that we can then evaluate if we just decide to move this to the design phase, you know, we could go forward. But so that's where we're at.
Okay.
This is
Council,
just-
anybody else with me on that? I feel like I walked into the wrong room.
Yeah, I
I
was a
think
little bit.
I think I've heard it a few times, but I've also gone to a couple of like RAG meetings and things like that. But it didn't completely throw me off. I feel like we've discussed it a little bit.
Okay.
And that was just, again, this went to the Recreation Advisory Group at our last meeting. And, you know, just to gain some steam on to what they would like to see in this, and some of the recommendations that they brought forward have been added to this slide. So, but again, I would focus more on the multi-purpose use of those.
I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
I don't want to create something that competes
Correct.
with our farmers market. I
Correct.
think they're happy where they are, and I think some improvements are coming at Partners Pizza that are going to be good for everybody over there. So I would
To-
prefer the focus that you're describing now.
Yeah, to me, I could see this possibly being somewhat a relief point from Drake Field for some of our smaller events that we're having.
And certainly a better location for our veterans events. I think that's our focus here,
Yes,
right?
correct, because one of the main things we've looked at is, see if it'll come up. So this area that's right here for the Veterans Memorial, we would essentially take up the monument and the bricks that are currently out here, and exactly the way that they're placed out there, they would be placed there the exact same way.
If there's a shade pavilion that could be strategically placed, that it can look down into the amphitheater presentation area, it would be, and if it's, assuming it's accessible,
Correct.
then it would be a really good option. I think we should keep a focus on what makes this the best possible veterans tribute.
Agree. Agree.
Yeah, and that's exactly the direction we ended up going in
Yes.
the last meeting, was
Yes.
that those shade structures would give you the perfect view to where this monument is.
Thank you. I think that's the primary focus.
Yeah, because if you go back to the original concept right here, that was kind of one of the beautiful things about this was the amphitheater, and you would have that shade that directly looked over. One thing that was lost, I think, was having the monument over here, not necessarily where it would be in the pavilion area.
Does it have to be, does the monument stuff have to be where you've got it here, where it's called the Veterans Plaza, as opposed to putting it over where number 2 is on the list, which is, you're calling that an amphitheater. So you kind of just got me a little confused as to,
That's the old design.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think it's more to do with what the current topography is of the layout,
okay.
to kind of flow with that, so that the grading plan wouldn't be as significant.
Where are the flagpoles gonna go? You got 3 big flagpoles,
They would also go right there at that monument area.
right at that area? Oh,
Yeah,
which one, up at C or D,
Are you
or
on
H?
this one or the original?
Whatever one you
Okay.
point at.
So on this one, well, let me go to the most recent one. So on this one right here, it would be right here where
An
the
H.
right there at H, and it would be
Okay.
very similar to what it currently is with the flagpole.
Is there gonna be enough room for the
H-
types of
That
things
says
that we're gonna
playground
do
field.
at the
Perfect.
memorials?
H is
Excuse-
the
I'm
playground.
sorry, right here.
I was
Oh,
That's where it is.
okay.
I get those
C.
two mixed up. Yes.
Okay, so that's gonna be where the memorial will be, the flagpoles will be up in that area?
I
by
like that
C?
better because you can see it from the
Right.
street.
Correct.
Exactly. Good, okay, thanks for the clarification.
Yep.
whether there's enough parking.
All right, so in working through these, the original option, option A as presented in the master plan, we got a rough budget number of almost $1.4 million that would include those pole barns, the Veterans Plaza, the parking area, restrooms, electric cart charging station, and the new trailheads. All the other things that were listed, the playground, the amphitheater, those would all be amenities that would come later with a different price tag. Option B, configured differently, was a savings of about $112,000. The design fees for these, for A would be almost $140,000. Option B would be $128,300. To construct the amphitheater, it's going to be an additional $250,000 to $400,000.
So you're looking at about 1.5, thereabouts?
1.6,
8.
1.7.
Could you say that again, please?
So the construction of option B, if we were to go with that one, the construction would cost $1.283 million. There would be an additional design fee of $128,300. And then if we choose to build the amphitheater, that would be an additional $250,000 to $400,000.
Well, we want the amphitheater. Again, back to the veterans events. To me, that's pretty much primary purpose.
I was going to say, if you all are good moving forward with this in a more heavy design capacity, we should do the amphitheater right now because it's never going to get cheaper. I would say we could put the playground on hold because we do have. I'm hoping we will most likely have some more playground funds available in SPLOST once we finish some of the bigger projects.
And by the way, we have $1 million in SPLOST for this project.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Can
But
you,
if we do 1.8, we can also have 1.8 in SPLOST for this project.
Oh, yay.
Like
Okay.
that's-
can you go back to what A and B are?
Yes,
in the
please.
pictures so we can just see them?
All right, so this is A. This is the original CPL master plan,
Okay.
which shows the plaza here for the veterans, the playground here, amphitheater, and then the pole barns.
Okay. That's A.
Stay there for a minute because I'm going through the list.
Question, go ahead.
So farmers market, really, we're talking about pavilion.
Correct.
Yeah, it's pavilion, right.
Performance area is in both. Natural amphitheater is in both. Veterans Plaza means the flagpoles and all the bricks and everything.
Correct.
Okay, parking, which will focus on golf cart parking, I would assume.
You notice in this design too, the restroom is further away from everything, in Sloop's kind of updated design. In option B, the restroom is close, like the restroom and the Veterans Plaza and the pavilions are all together.
Where
Okay.
is, on this diagram, where is the existing pavilion that's there now?
Where the
Where is-
parking lot would be.
Yeah.
Oh, right in here.
And so this has a totally different entrance off of Kelly Drive.
Correct.
Yes,
Yes,
and that was to help with line of sight.
Site distance.
Yeah, 'cause the other one is like too close to the curve in the street. I got that, but.
I don't think there's anything in here that would be a problem for the neighbors. I mean, they're not far away. I don't think there would be anything.
So this is what you call A, picture A.
Yes.
Okay, I'm
Type
ready
thing.
for B.
B.
Are you ready for B?
Mm-hmm.
Go to the second B. Yeah.
All right, so this is the second option B.
The driveway entrance is the same in A and B.
Correct.
We have two pavilions.
That are the same size, yes.
How big are those roughly? You got it?
It's 30 by
30
45.
by
It says under
45?
B on the
Okay.
legend.
I
Okay.
got a question.
I see it.
So where the letter J is at this bottom end of the parking,
It's a
Where it says
multi-use
J.
plaza.
it's called multi-use plaza, but wouldn't that area be perfect for cart parking right off the cart path there?
It would be, or if we had a food truck that wanted to set up, we could set the food truck up there and it wouldn't
Yeah.
interfere
It'd
with
be,
the
yeah,
parking.
part of that is to be able to park food trucks up on it.
Well, and the other, I mean, cart parking technically to the downside or the south side of where the cart path goes through could also be used for cart parking.
Well, they have, if you look at
Pulling
E,
off the,
so E, they have it marked as trailhead and cart parking
Okay.
where's E?
over on the
E
left.
on the left. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, E would bring you onto this cart path, which could bring you down here to this grassed area as well.
Yeah.
And then the idea of keeping an open grass area is for, you know, you have events, you get kids out there playing, or have tents out there for vendors or whatever. And in the woods back here, we want to maintain woods because, like the mayor said, part of the concept CPL had that's not on here that I also want to eventually do in the future is if we are able to connect to Flat Creek, if we're able to do boardwalk over to this area, I would like to do some natural walking trails.
Yes.
Or,
Uh-huh.
or,
I
at least,
like
or
that.
at least one through those woods that connects back into the cart path.
Harold, I think I like B better than A. That's
I-
just my opinion, but
I do too.
What's on there right now is,
That's
this is
this
B,
B.
the one that's
Okay.
up there now. Go back to A again. No, I think I'm a fan of B.
I like B because I'd love to be able to be wowed by the Veterans Plaza just on a drive-by, on a cart path drive-by. We still have that cart path there, correct? That'll
You
go
got one
all
by
across.
the road and one going down to the side.
I really want to be able to see that, make it
Yep.
beautiful from the street.
Have the
I
flags
have-
lit up at night.
Yeah, I like
Oh, yeah.
and tall flagpoles so you can see them from the road.
Does this include power down at G for loudspeakers and stuff?
I believe we could add
It
that.
would.
Yes.
We'd make that happen.
Yes, we'd make that happen.
well, in a natural amphitheater, sometimes you don't need as much amplification as you think
Yeah.
if you're banked the right
We
way.
wouldn't have,
But
we have a lot of power at Drake,
I-
but it would be less.
I have another completely, totally different suggestion that hasn't been discussed at all today. And it's something that we brought up about a year ago. And that is, where's the monument gonna go for us to put Flat Creek Floyd in here? Because
Put it
we
down.
as a council
It's-
already said we'd be
So
more
you
than
put-
happy to
It's
buy
It's gonna
the
go in the
the
playground
concrete-
for the
Put 'em
kids to
close.
play on.
Yeah.
Clint's
well,
buying.
Well, I'm
Yep,
okay
I'm
with
buying.
a
Just
low
tell me where it's gotta
platform,
go.
and we get the cement thing and let the kids play on it. But not a problem. But
You could do
we
something.
got to put it in the plan somewhere.
You could
Can
do
I-
something closer to the path system as well, near actual Flat Creek.
Something to the right here at the end of this, down where the Carter and Sloop logo is, somewhere in that area? Is that what you're saying? For the,
Can we
Well, what's-
take that up in another
Yeah.
context? I would like to hear from Ms. Brown, Ms. Johnson, Mr. Polachek, A or B.
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 B. And does the golf cart parking include charging station as
Yes.
well? Okay.
Yes. And
Do
again,
you have what you need? This is very exciting.
yeah, I
good
do.
one.
And this has already gone through the rec advisory group, and they selected B as well. So
oh, wow.
How about that?
So are y'all good with us
There we
moving
go.
forward with robust design on this?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you didn't tell us that before we selected.
Me too.
So,
It's nice. Thank you.
Good.
all right, I'm gonna let Michelle come back up and talk about athletics.
Okay, so we are afternoon now. Good afternoon, getting there. So we're
Almost.
excited, well, not quite there, but we're excited about adding adult athletics, adding more programming, working with the athletic coordinator, Alec, who was brought in, I think, in January full-time. And our goal is really, we've got focus on our youth with the associations. They're doing a fantastic job. We maintain the fields, maintain the facilities for them, and we're focusing now on adults and how we can grow that program some more. Some of the new programs, we've got basketball, summer and winter seasons, which has been going for a while. And I think Alec and I were looking yesterday at our adult program is probably, we looked, I think it was across the state. Cobb was probably one of the biggest. Alpharetta was probably second in size with us as far as the number of citizens based on. And we have a fantastic, amazing adult program. So I just wanted to put that out there with it being, being youth being the associations, but adult, we are really blazing the trails for adult athletics. We've got indoor volleyball spring and fall season. We had a Polar Peachtree Open that Alex initiated. We've been doing grass volleyball. We've got 7 tournaments scheduled throughout 2026. I think we've been doing them at Braylon, and then we're looking at Riley also. So those are kind of interesting. We're bringing some people over from Alabama for these tournaments. They're adults. They're having fun, easy, pop-up bar volley nets, and enjoying out there. So it's really nice. With the flag football that initiated this past, I think we started in the winter time, and then we're going to do another for the fall. We're going to try to stay away from the winter. We had a whole bunch of adults getting hurt during winter time. But we are doing flag football for adults. And then we're doing an inaugural pickleball flex league. This is really them reporting themselves. They coordinate and go on Duper, and they report their scores. Very low key for as far as staff-wise. We've got the Meade pickleball courts. So they're out there doing that, and that's going to start up. So we're taking registration for that. And we are doing an inaugural adult kickball league. So we're hoping we can get a Peachtree City employees team together for that. So that's where we are on the adults. Any questions on any of that?
Is the minimum age 18?
I think we've taken them at 16, but 18 is most of them. I think it just depends. I know some of the volleyball, the indoor open, they were taking them at 16. So here's some of the financials. If you look, the total projected for 2026 is about $63,000. With the total revenue, we are $40,000, and the total growth projection, we're looking at $23,240. So it's significant. We've had an increase and grown so much with the adult programming. So we're really excited about that for just starting in, the past year, working on adding some new. So we've got the grass volleyball that's new, the flag football, kickball league, pickleball league, and we're looking at a table tennis. And coming soon,
Mr. Holland.
coming soon,
Yeah, I saw it. That was the first thing I saw on that list, is the adult softball.
go ahead.
So we've been looking at the feasibility of doing an adult summer league softball at the Peachtree City Athletic Complex. During the summer, kids are out of school. The fields aren't used as much. We've got 2, possibly 3 fields that we can use for softball. So if we're not using it for baseball, let's program it for softball, and let's bring a little more revenue in, right?
Beautiful.
So,
Is grass volleyball, is that at Glenlock?
it's actually, we've used Braylon, and we're also using Raleigh for that.
Thank you.
Any questions on that one?
No, this is great.
So we really have grown the athletics within the past year, so it's
And-
really exciting.
And the kickball is real kickball.
Yeah, have you played?
Like, well,
Yeah.
a long time ago
I
as
know.
a kid.
I played in a
you know,
competitive league. It is
Yeah. But then again, we played real dodgeball too.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Right.
That's true.
Like full contact.
Coming soon. Okay,
Adult
dodgeball.
Coming soon.
Adult athletics gets
We
intense.
really are
Yeah,
trying.
It gets mean.
Just being a youth athlete, you want to encourage our citizens to enjoy sports, and this is a great way of doing it. Not every recreation department does as much adult athletics as we do. So this is a great addition, and anything that we can get into, we really want to try to accommodate. If we can do it space-wise or facility-wise, like I said, we're going to look at table tennis. We're going to look at Glenlock at doing that. I think we can get 2 tables in there. We've even talked about having some on outdoors, so that people can really, they're walking, they're riding, they're running. So let's incorporate all these sports.
Michelle, are these all like the adults are coming up with their own groups and then they sign up as a team? There's not, you can go and just sign up as an individual.
You can. They put out calls if somebody needs participants, or an individual say, hey, I need a team. We hook them up with those teams.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so you don't have to be on a team to come in.
Okay.
We'll incorporate. People are always willing to bring on, because not everybody's an adult can make all the games, but
Right.
that's the goals.
So I see you've got some projected revenue, which is all great. There's costs involved to that. Is that spelled out somewhere, or is it basically just a revenue generator to start with?
So this is mainly, it is the only cost that we would have would be officials. And then we do have part-time, scorekeepers that also have, but the refs are probably the majority, but these are revenue costs that he's
So
based
there
on.
are really minimal amount of costs involved. It's mainly, other than the time of the staff that's involved, there's no really out-of-pocket much to speak of other than referees and things like that.
Not equipment-wise, like you would deal with football, with youth football, with helmets and recertifications and things like this. We did send a team to GRPA. We were represented for our adults league, went for the first time, and we did uniforms for them. They were representing us as a city municipality, which was great. So they got a team together, and so those are some of the minimal costs. But you're talking about jerseys, yeah, $400, very minimal compared to what you're looking at some of the other costs for equipment.
And we did change the athletic coordinator from part-time to full-time. So part of wanting to grow the revenue as well is to justify having that full-time position, is growing the athletics and the revenue we bring in from that.
So they coordinate things like I want the court at this day on this time.
We
They're the
coordinate.
coordinator.
Yeah, we coordinate that.
You coordinate
our
that.
athletic coordinator
Good.
sets that up with
Perfect.
everything.
But all these adult leagues, our athletic coordinator is the point person for the city that handles all these adult leagues.
Correct.
And we are getting, I will say, with all that we brought on and the revenue that we are at, we are getting close to maxing him out, to where we need to start looking at the feasibility. Do we bring another athletic coordinator on staff, to help do some of this? Because he's working pretty much 6-7 days a week right now, overtime and stuff like that. So yeah, there are some costs that we're going to be looking at in the future as well.
Move forward.
And these are all being worked around what our current associations are doing with our youth basketball, coordinating adults. So we are putting a lot in a facility to maximize that. Okay. Oh, urban archery. It was only Michelle's show for a minute.
Archery. Holy moly.
All right, so let's talk about some deer hunting.
Woohoo!
I know you'd love this.
Hey, Harold, before you go on, can I stay with recreation for one more minute?
Sure.
I know that after going on the tours that we've done out of town and also our tour here at our facility, I didn't see anything for gymnastics. And is that coming up? Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, that was a good question. There's not information in here. We are going to touch on some other programming just in general. But I have received 3 quotes on putting equipment in at Glenlock. Looking at movable equipment, but it would still be semi-permanent. Some matting that would go down, and it was around $32,000 to hit just a preschool, almost a preschool course per se, working on coordination, flexibility, hand-eye coordinations. Toddlers don't put one foot in front of the other. So we got a quote, so we'll need some direction on if we want to move forward with that. The equipment that the gymnastics program started a couple weeks ago is just minimal, just very little, but we're really working that 3 to 5 age, not anything above that. If we're gonna look above that, then we're gonna have to get into more
Yeah,
equipment.
there's more equipment once you
Right.
start getting into
So
the
the
pommel
30
horses and
yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
So the
They're not even
And a
32,000.
facility
that.
too.
Correct. $32,000 was matting on the floor, complete matting with beams, bars, mini tramps, just really hand-eye coordination, beginning gymnastics, handstands, forward rolls, cartwheels, bridge ups, kickovers, and a little bit of tumbling. But once you start getting tumbling, we're going to need high ceilings. We've already discussed a possibility as that program grows, we could go to Kedron with minimal moving of equipment for tumbling, but have to bring it back out because of the basketball program, the volleyball program, adult and youth. So it is going to come down to a facility space, but I think we can grow the toddler program, work towards tumbling, and then if we want to go to a developmental competitive program, happy to do that. Spent 20-something years of my life running that program, and it's a great sport, and gymnastics is great for all sports, teaching you how to fall, coordination, balance. So even at the young age, I think it's a great addition for Peachtree City if that's something we want to pursue. So about $32,000 if we want to get.
So it's a minimal amount to start with, but it's something for us to look forward to maybe down the road.
We'll develop, yeah.
And just to throw something crazy out there, is that, you know, the multipurpose, if we end up not doing hockey there, would that be an interesting one to look at for a gymnastic area?
So on
It would have to be
gymnas-
outdoors, though, unfortunately.
Well, so on gymnastics, let me just touch on that. Gymnastics equipment is not cheap. A gymnastics floor 40 by 40 is $50,000. So it is not something I would recommend that would not be in a controlled.
Gotcha.
So just it's expensive equipment once you get into competitive, and it takes up a lot of space. So I think 100 by 100. I mean, it takes up a lot of space. There's a lot of regulations for a competitive program, but I'm excited to talk about it with you. All right. Urban archery.
All right, so last year we had 16 zones for hunting that were along the Flat Creek corridor down through here. We would hunt 8 one weekend, then 8 the next weekend, so that they weren't using the same zones. After speaking with the DNR by phone, we were supposed to have a meeting. It's been rescheduled for the 7th of September. They were looking for 20-acre tracts, the closest we could get to that. So went back, met with Josh Petty and GIS, and we started discussing what this group of land parcels would look like. So I said, hey, can we try to clean some of this up, try to get as close as we can to 20-acre tracts so that we can kind of meet some DNR specs on this, and he did. We were able to capture 12 usable tracts out of that 16. There will be, so we'll already be able to increase from 8 hunters each weekend to 12 now. We also located 4 additional areas, and due to the sensitivity of this area being right behind the police department, that area back there, we're looking to make this an employee-only zone so that it would be city employees that are still utilizing these 4 tracks, and they are smaller because of that sensitivity to the police department and that complex on the backside of the police department in that cul-de-sac. So we're gaining 4 additional hunters there, and then we have also found 2 more additional parcels of land that could be huntable behind Everton subdivision off of McDuff. Looking to come up with, once I meet with DNR, the possibility of gaining extra buck tags for does that are killed for hunters that are participating in our archery program, to get them to try to be more aggressive with their hunting in Peachtree City. Last year we felt like one of the biggest obstacles that we had was Peachtree City's open for hunting. Everybody was waiting on their buck tags. They wanted to see these big 20-point bucks that were here, allegedly, and that was what everyone was waiting on. And they let a lot of does pass that we were looking to cull that just didn't happen. Last year, I think the final number was somewhere around 18, 19 deer that were taken. Looking to expand that this year, and I think so far we have had, for our lottery applications, I think we're somewhere between 300 to 500 applications already. I mean, we've created an email, wildlife@peachtree-city.org, and Kayla gets probably 12 to 15 applications a day on a slow day. So there's a lot of people from all over the state. I've seen Thomaston, Georgia. I've seen Rome, Georgia. I've seen a lot of different areas trying to come in to hunt the city. Obviously, we'll take priority over residents first.
Do we?
Yes, we do. And then with whatever's left, we'll expand and do out of that. So ultimately, we're expanding from 8 zones that are going to be hunted to 14 publicly, and then an additional 4 that could be used for employees. Last year, the month of January, we allowed employee-only hunting on those 8 zones. Those 12, 14 zones would be, the entire season would be public hunting zones till the end of January. So a lot more hunting could take place, a lot more chances to cull deer, to increase to reduce our population.
And when does it begin?
September 15th.
September, yes.
It's the 13th or the 15th.
Yeah, it's
Right
it's the
there.
second weekend in September, yes.
Hey Harold, on the numbers that we got last year of 18 does, I guess it was, I know that from my organizations that I'm a member of, like Knights of Columbus or the American Legion or any of the other ones that I'm members of, a lot of them come up to me and say, I got 2 of them in my backyard. And when you start adding in some of those, and I'm only saying maybe I've gotten people tell me about 8 deer that they've gotten in their own property. So to be adding that, and that's only just me and talking to these people, I don't know how many across the city that actually did some hunting in their own property. And do they have to report those deer to you?
No, they do not.
So you got to add that 18. There's probably could be double that amount
I mean,
that
there
have
could
been taken.
Honestly, realistically, there was probably 50, 60 deer culled in
50
Peachtree
or
City.
60.
I mean, there's no way to capture that data. Because
Other than just somebody saying, hey, I've got a couple from my backyard, you got to keep counting all of those.
correct, and even if you take it to a processor, there's a lot of people that don't take deer to processor, they do it themselves. So there's the reporting on that. I mean, ultimately, you're counting on somebody to report that to the DNR utilizing their tag system. You know, so that data is really hard to capture. But, you know, in meeting with the DNR in September, one of the things I'm going to ask, excuse me, is the study and looking at, you know, what our population looks like in Peachtree City, because they will do stuff like that for us. So he was very interested in our urban archery program. The gentleman that I spoke with, he actually started the urban archery program up in Forsyth County. It's been very successful up there, so he was very interested, wants to come down, wants to ride our areas, look at what we've got, and do a little bit of research on it, so.
Well done.
Any progress on getting the specialty tags for Peachtree City so they don't have to count them against their other 12 that they can take?
So what we've looked at is the possibility of giving them an extra buck for a doe that they kill. So if they kill a doe first, they would gain an extra buck, so they could take 3 bucks that season. Because right now you can only kill 2. That's kind of where we're at until they come down and look at some more things. Like I say, he wants to look at our areas and see what we've got. But yes, he is open to giving me everything to get some extra tags, yes.
Try to impress upon them when they visit or whatever that about 202 deer get harvested through the use of cars every year that we're aware of, and probably a certain percentage more than that get hit by a car, run off. They don't die on the road, so we don't pick them up and we're not tracking them, but they die like the one did behind my neighbor's house, and it stank to high heaven for a whole week. But you know, I know there was a dead deer in there. I didn't go in search of it, but you know,
I will definitely
it was obvious.
I'll definitely make sure I relay that. You know, I'm an avid hunter and fisherman myself, so yes, I truly know the realities of that.
When they came, oh, I'm sorry.
But
When-
I can one more. I can tell you, riding the golf cart paths around my neighborhood, I have noticed that a lot of the bigger deer that I saw the past couple of years are no longer there.
Correct.
So I do agree that there's probably a lot more deer that have been harvested than what are reported. So
If they're reporting them to the DNR by zip code or whatever, can't they give us some indication as far as how many were legitimately tagged?
ultimately, it's up to the hunter himself, and it
Yeah.
kind of goes back to the old fishing
It
rules.
runs into the personal property issue, yeah.
Yeah, and
What
it-
you can do with the deer on your personal property is a whole different.
And if you've got a good fishing spot, do you want to tell everybody where your fishing spot is?
Nope.
You know, it's one of those. But
Ms. Johnson, did you have a question?
Oh, I feel like when they first came, they were showing us, I think I remember like hot spots in the city where there are like larger populations of deer. Is that right?
yes,
I mean, it seems like there's probably hot spots that this isn't hitting.
so and Josh Petty and I looked through the city as a whole, and he did a lot more research on this than I did. 10-acre tracts of land are larger throughout the city to hunt that don't have a cart path going through the middle of them, that, you know, aren't directly behind somebody's house, that you've got enough line of sight, enough shooting range to properly discharge a bow. It's at a premium. These are pretty much what we've got in Peachtree City, unfortunately.
But we can still continue to strongly encourage
Correct.
people to invite hunters to come onto their property if they don't want to hunt themselves, but want their population called.
Correctly. And I've seen local groups on social media that,
Yeah.
you know, people asking, hey, would you like your property hunted?
Yeah,
Is
they're
there-"
hooking up a little bit there.
Yeah. And
It's
so I
happening.
think with, you know, the amount of applications that we've gotten, I think we're gonna see a little bit uptick in that this year as well, so.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's talk about the Fred. You know, this year we did a few upgrades up there. You know, the mural that we painted on the sound booth, you know, has been awesome, been great. We did an ADA ramp down at the pit area so that instead of people with accessible needs having to be carted up during the show to the upper bathrooms, they can walk right out the side, go over to our ADA accessible restroom trailer, and use that. We added fencing all around the facility, as well as the new fryers, and we even did some neon signs for the food and bar up there. So far, you know, we've got 5 sold out shows. There's 3 left. You know, culminating with Collective Soul. I think it's the very last show. I know I've got 8 tickets to it myself that I purchased. But we've sold 24,396 tickets so far this season. So it's been a good year at the Fred. Now, this is kind of a nicety that not too many people know about. This is our new public art room that we are looking at, that we've actually been working in.
Is this where Bridge used to be?
That is correct.
Aha.
So this is at the CVB. This room will be available for rentals, meetings, exhibits. We've done a shiplap wall that we're going to get some signage that can be interchangeable with city logos, CVB logos, where we want to have board meetings there, or art advisory group meetings. You can have that stuff there. You can put the logo of the city up, logo of the CVB up for those. If we have, you know, I know we had Memorial Day that was there once. If we have to have an event like that there or something, we could put our logo up. But also it's a blank canvas that we could put paintings up, that we could put sculptures up. It would be more of a controlled environment that we could lock up, that kind of ebbs and flows with what the CVB is doing, you know, up there as well, to help try to bring a little bit more touristic vibe to that facility. So, you know, we're looking forward to the possibility of what this can host. I know Dave McDaniel's is retiring, and his party is Friday. It's actually going to be located in this room. So you'll get to see it firsthand when you come to that tomorrow. So, yeah. But it's been nice to watch it come to fruition. This is, you know, I'm anxious to see what happens with it. And of course, everybody's favorite LED video screen. Mr. Allen says, I need a larger one.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Or multiple ones.
one thing I get, you know, you do these events and you're like, man, are they going to work? Is there going to be people show up? You know, yes, I'm a football fan, and I'm an American football fan, right? I played high school and college football. I love family football Saturdays. That's my thing. You show up to Drake Field, I've got my tailgate set up. I've got Brunswick Stew. I've got all the things, right? I could not believe the amount of people that showed up for the FIFA watch parties.
For the which
Yeah,
watch?
For the soccer watch parties that we had.
It was huge.
I mean, it was huge. I mean, 12 to 1,500 people
Yep.
were what we were bringing in, and that's a free event, you know, that everybody's getting to benefit. We've utilized it for several things. Obviously, next week we're going to use it for the U.S. Open tennis at the tennis center. You know, the pickleball grand opening, we used it as, you know, a progress video for what happened down there. We've had movie nights at the PAC. Fourth Fest, we used it for the ceremony. So there's a lot of uses for this, and you know, it's been a great amenity to the city.
So much fun.
Yes.
Still
Mike?
too small.
We can talk about that if you want to.
I don't know, you got your checkbook with you, Clint?
Now I'll use yours.
Then shut up.
So our bike rack program, we've installed 20 total bike racks throughout the city so far to date. Still working on those. You know, we've got more concrete pads that we've got to pour to put those and install them, and we are selling those to anybody online that wants to purchase those for their own venues as well. So just wanted to highlight that. Playgrounds. All right, I'll give you a couple updates on this. Mead Pickleball is ordered, should be installed October to November. You know, Braylon Rec, we talked about a playground and a ninja course there. We had a little hiccup on that process, so we're still working through that. Battery Way, same as well. We're looking at designs through all these, but I want to touch on all of these just to give you a feel of how many there are, okay? And then we'll kind of go back and do an overview of this. So Smoke Rise and Rock Spray, which I'll hit on this next one. Both of those playgrounds were total losses, as you can see in the images, due to trees falling on them.
Are they gone? That Smoke Rise one is gone?
Both of them have been
Yeah, yeah.
removed.
Okay.
You know, we pulled those up and recovered the surface. The swings are still there temporarily. I was starting to move on these to look at what $60,000 for each one of those looks like. You know, for Smoke Rise, we got an insurance check for $24,170 for that playground. The playground is similar of that size is $60,000. That's just how much they are now. Rock Spray is similar, you know, to what we're going to have to do to replace those. Just to give you an update, the past 3 years we spent $17,295 replacing slides, swings, anything that was damaged and needed repaired on playgrounds. Currently we're working on the Mead Pickleball. Like I said, it'll be, you see the design for it right there. It's going to be up by November of this year. Braylon Rec Center, I'm currently working with a purchasing co-op to get designs to bring back to you at $500,000 price point, $750,000, and $1 million price point. Still looking at the ninja course to get another vendor, whoever we select for the playground at that price point, to also do the ninja course as well, or you know, see if there's somebody else that wants to offer us another ninja course. Battery Way, you know, was a $250,000 estimated design. Looking at it through the co-op. And then
Why do we need design on a playground that basically is a replacement? Why
Well,
would
what
we
you do
need
is
design?
you reach out to the companies that manufacture them, and they submit to you different designs of here's what 250,000 gets you. Here's what half a
I
million
see.
gets
It's not like an engineering design. It's the design
Correct.
from the manufacturers
Correct.
of these particular components within the playground.
you. Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So then, in working with a rec advisory group, you know, we've kind of gone through this list and kind of hit on these parks that you see listed, that are they're right there at that end of their life cycle. Unfortunately, like I said, there was a big push with Miracle back in the mid to early 90s, and a lot of playgrounds were built in a short amount of time. Their life cycle is ending at the same amount of time, so there's a lot of them that need work and need to have stuff happen. So we're looking at about $1.25 million to replace this list of playgrounds where they are. I
Do
wanted
they
to
get the traffic that you would normally get, or is it that slowed down?
I mean, it is, yes, you do get the traffic. However, if you build a nice new playground in a neighborhood, your traffic is going to increase significantly in that neighborhood because it's a brand new playground. Look at what All Children's Playground, there was a lot of kids that went there before we redid that playground. But if you look at the load that it's getting now is just way off the chart. Glenlock, same way. We built a playground there, redid it. There's a lot of kids that go over there and use that. You know, so they are utilized. If you build it, they will come. But I wanted to show this because this design that you're seeing right now was one of the designs for replacement of rock spray pond. So with looking at this whole evaluation of all these playgrounds, and I was getting designs on these two playgrounds, and knowing that we could possibly be moving forward on a lot of these, it's really hard to deal with 17 different playground installers, manufacturers, if you got to deal with replacement parts. So I want to look at what the feasibility of us doing is, what we can within our budget, but to work with one, possibly two providers, so the replacement parts, warranties, service, it's all encumbered. Yes.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. So, and with all this, this is kind of a personal touch within the department. One of the things we've been looking at, Big Pine Park is kind of near and dear to our heart in our department. Big Pine Park, I want to look at, when we do rebuild that one and refurbish it, I would like to ask for a rename.
You're going to make me cry.
I am.
Where's the Big Pine one?
That is in Clover Reach subdivision.
Okay, that's what I thought it was. And that's, I know what you're about to say.
I want to rename this park to Wilder Park. That's going to be my big push. That was the neighborhood that she lived in, and that was the neighborhood her kids played on. And our first debate was actually about that playground. The alligator rocker spring was broken, and she didn't want to replace it. And I said, Kathy, we need to replace it. So we ended up replacing it, and she came back and said, you were right. So that's
Great idea.
My personal touch on that. So moving forward, yes, I'm going to move forward with one or two providers, but we know we've got all these to do, so I need to work through what all these RFPs or what all these designs look like, take them back to the rec advisory group. I know we've got these two playgrounds that need to be built. My first goal is to get that picked on what our design's going to be, what our manufacturer is going to be. Move forward with the two playgrounds, Smoke Rise and Rock Spray. I want to get a sign put up immediately. It says coming soon once those are awarded, to let all the citizens know, because we are fielding a lot of emails, a lot of calls about those. So, but yeah, just Kelly and I, we've discussed budget and financials for this, and it's a lot. We understand. So
That's our whole splost allotment right there, correct?
yeah. And that 1.25 does not include these.
Yeah, and these are the ones that you all have told us we want to do these now. So the next slide, the ones Harold's totaled up to 1.25, those are the ones that I'm going to tell him and y'all, let's not do these right now. We can plan them, but let's not do them, and let's see how some of the bigger projects go out on SPLOST and how much money we have left in 3 years, and then, because if we have money left over after we build fire stations, after we build the Macintosh booth connection, we can, just because we have 1.25 million in SPLOST, we can double that if we have the money left over and do these playgrounds with SPLOST. But I also don't want to do them and then not be able to build a fire station.
Sure.
Okay.
It seems like the most fiscally responsible
Good
way.
plan.
I mean, we're making upgrades, and there's obviously a lot more, so it's not going to be an overnight matter.
But I think I read it correctly that you all still want us to focus on the bigger Braylon project, on Battery Way, on replacing the
Go back
tank.
to that slide.
Which Braylon was originally.
one.
That's SPLOST.
Yes.
The Braylon, right? Just
Well,
to be
not
clear.
by itself, no.
Yeah.
It's just, it would be coming out of the general pot of playground money.
So no,
In
to answer your
SPLOST.
question,
Within SPLOST.
Yes.
For the playground bucket and
But
SPLOST.
Battery Way would be too, the playground.
Yeah, the
1.2
playground.
million in SPLOST for playgrounds.
Mhm. But the last discussion we had about Braylon Ninja Course and playground there was the SPLOST,
Correct.
unless that's changed. But I remember that was.
I'm comfortable with us going, if we do Braylon and do a bigger project there and we do Battery Way, and we do the two top lots, like we get, and then we paid for the Mead one out of there as well. I'm good with it being like 1.5, 1.6, but to do an additional million,
Sure.
or
Yeah, that makes
1.25
sense.
million, I think we need to, break on it a little bit and then reevaluate once we've done some other projects.
This one
Okay,
isn't SPLOST though,
Which one?
right?
No,
Mead?
you're right. Mead
It's
was
CIP, right?
Yes, Mead came from the Pebble Pocket.
Yeah,
money we
right.
had on- Yes, you're correct. You're
Okay.
right.
So let me make
Great.
sure I'm understanding.
Thank you.
So what you're saying is we'll proceed with the Braylon, with the Ninja Course and Battery Way with the money that we have as a known commodity
And
in
re-
SPLOST.
And replacing, to cover the part that insurance doesn't, because insurance will cover about half. So to do smoke rise and rock spray.
The rest of the smaller recreation, or the smaller playgrounds would be on hold.
Doesn't mean
paused.
we can't go forward and
Yeah.
get designs and look at, do all that.
Right. And I mean, certainly your recommendation about unifying where we're getting supplies from, replacement parts, that kind of stuff, brilliant idea, because that's the one thing that's missing from what we've been dealing with.
Yeah,
And then,
and with that, I mean, even though we're trying to go to one or two companies, I don't want a cookie cutter, hey, this is a playground Peachtree
No.
City.
They all look
But-
the same.
Because like I'm asking, when I do this, I want, at the $100,000 price point, I want 2 or 3 different designs and 2 or 3 different paint schemes,
Right.
different colors. So therefore, you're asking for this and that. But also am asking them, we want our Peachtree City playgrounds to be Peachtree, you're at a Peachtree City playground.
Right.
We want to kind of brand it a little bit, so.
okay, cause I mean, I don't wanna put on pause, like doing the whole big upgrade for the playground at Braylon.
Correct.
To include hopefully the Ninja Course, but I don't want to put that on hold with the other things, because the whole idea was All Children's is so heavily used, we needed to have an alternative.
I think staff agrees with that.
So,
I think recreation group does too. I think
Yeah,
that's
she had
what-
to leave.
and it's far enough apart that it's like a whole different subset would go to each one.
Correct.
So,
Yeah, and like I say, I wanted to kind of, because obviously you buy playgrounds in volume, the better the price you're going to get. So if knowing that we're moving forward with, these that are currently on the screen, adding the 2 smaller parks is going to be more advantageous of us right now. And with that design, so that was what I was really kind of dragging my feet on these 2 playgrounds was, let me get through these designs on this slide that you're currently seeing. Let us pick that provider, and then we'll see what they have at that $60,000 price point, and move immediately on those smaller 2 playgrounds.
And that's a good point too, Harold, with the next slide. If we can get it all prepped and get them all designed and what we want in each one, then like you said, we could do them all like together, and like once we're ready to do that, get the price down.
And
I know-
what we're saying is, we'll do that when we can see better how much money we'll have from SPLOST as time goes by.
Yes.
Okay.
Another last point with playgrounds is, I know there's a few we're looking at to whether we want to keep or not, the tot lots at least. I did, when I reached out to Planterra, we do have a tot lot in Planterra on the back side of the Lion Creek Nature Area, and they have a really nice playground that their HOA has at their pool. So I actually mentioned it to him, like, hey, we may be looking at like abandoning that playground, and if we do, like, we could give it to you if you want to maintain it, or we just don't touch it anymore, and we take it out or whatever you want to do. He said, I actually think the HOA president, and he hasn't talked to his board probably, but he said, he's like, oh, that we probably would take it, like we probably, he's like, we're the only ones that use it, so
Are they gonna put a sign up restricting the hours?
I don't know. I don't know.
or a gate with a lock.
Exactly.
Okay.
But that's one. I mean, it makes sense because Planterra is the kids in that neighborhood are the only ones that
Yeah.
use it. It's not really a citywide.
No, it's there's no other housing close to there except if somebody's going to or from the tennis center maybe, or, you know,
But our guys are spending time maintaining it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think he understood it. He was like, oh yeah, that's like we would want you to approach us to take it over before you pulled it out. So
Okay, we need to keep going.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I want breakfast.
Yeah. I'll jump back to Michelle for special events.
Again, I get all the fun stuff. This is awesome. So just going to touch on some of our events that we've been doing for the past, years. But we've got our major events: the 4th of July Shake Rag Arts and Crafts Festival, Fall Festival, and Movie Night, Hometown Holidays. And then we've got our second level events: Father-Daughter, Kids to Park, Memorial Day, Purple Heart, Back to School Bash, Mother-Son, Veterans Day, and Derby Day. So these are just some of our normal activities. And then we've got our series events. We've been doing the Food Truck Thursdays, Sunset Sounds, Family Football Saturdays. We initiated a park it permit for the parks this summer, and it was successful. We wanted to try to provide some food trucks into the parks for people that were there during the summer on Saturdays. So that was great. And then we got the Conservation Trust, which has been doing programming out of the 12 months. We are looking at doing some more Saturdays instead of once the school starts. That was some feedback that I've got, so we're going to kind of coordinate that with them. And then we had our pop-up events, some not necessarily scheduled, but we decided to do something based on what's going on during the school, during the year. And we had the soccer watch parties, and then we had Parks and Rec, and it's actual national month, Parks and Rec month with NRPA, but we did a week. We did popsicles in the park, movie night, open gym, teen pickleball. We just did some other events, which was the Chip Connor Island renaming, and then the Gin Branch Trail ribbon cutting. So these are just activities that we've got going on throughout the year, and anything else that we might want to add to programming for the community. This was a really interesting dive to look back. I'm coming up on a year being here, and wanted to look at what we've done prior citywide events to what we currently did this past year. And we went from 32 citywide in 2025 and looking at 51 citywide events. So that was an increase of almost 60%, which is a great thing for our community, to bring their community together. So we had also looked at the special permitting process. I'm not if everybody's familiar with the process, but it is a process that everybody has to go through in order to get a special event. We had 36 of them, and we're at 47 currently, so a 38%. So there's been some increase of all events throughout our city. So that's quite an increase. So 110 overall. All right.
Hey, before you run away, what happened to night market? It was not on your list.
So night market is a special event permit. It
Okay,
is not.
I didn't see it up there. That's the way I.
Yeah, so those are permitted through us, not city
Okay.
run. So
Okay.
they do a permit
Okay.
through us.
Okay, I see it. Thank you.
So with that, brings us back to our org chart. Again, I'm gonna rattle these numbers off to you. 25 full-time personnel, 15 of those are maintenance techs. 25 part-time, 23 seasonal, for a total of 73 employees. I will take my 73 employees for what they do for Peachtree City and match them against any department or agency statewide. And I hope you'll agree with me on that.
Of course.
100%.
So with that, I'm done. Any questions?
I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, I think you covered
Any
them as we went
last
along.
minute?
No, just thank you for putting together. Obviously,
Amazing.
it takes
Yeah.
a lot of time to put together that presentation and get all the updates. So thank you. Really, it's very informative.
All right. With
Hey,
that,
Harold, I had a whole list of questions, and you answered probably 90% of them, so great.
All right.
Thank you.
with that, council, do I need a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thanks very much.